Li Feiyu sighed. This is truly a headache. The real and the fake, the true and the false. It will take too much time and energy to uncover the truth. I feel that the heavenly martial world is becoming more and more unstable. If the rumors are true, this would be the second major event since the collapse of Mount Sumeru in the southern region. He looked over at Li Yunxiao and asked, Young Master Yun, have you heard of this? Li Yunxiao wore a peculiar expression as the gourd puppet replied in a deep voice, Never heard of it. His words were not technically a lie. Since he was the one who had caused both incidents, he had indeed never heard about them from others. The three of them said no more, transforming into a beam of light that flew into the phoenix-drawn war chariot, disappearing from the skies above Fengwu City. They tore through the void directly heading east. The Mei family's location was extremely secret, known to very few. Inside the war chariot, there were even jade pavilions and terraces. All sorts of spiritual flowers and exotic herbs grew tended to by beautiful maids who arranged rockeries and pruned the plants, giving the entire warship the feel of a refreshing courtyard. Only a woman would have the mind to create such a thing. Li Yunxiao asked curiously, The members of the Mei family who appear at auctions are always men and old men at that. Why is it that around Lady Juyi there are only women and not a single man to be seen? Juyi glanced unhurriedly at Li Yunxiao. Young Master Yun, I knew long ago that this was your true form. There's no need to keep up the act in front of me. Li Yunxiao felt no pressure and smiled lightly. Good. I don't have to pretend anymore. It's quite tiring. Juyi looked at the gourd puppet and said with a smile, This puppet of yours is truly a supreme treasure. It even has its own spiritual consciousness within it. Although it's only 8th tier, its value is no less than a 9th tier treasure. Zhou Yi then answered his earlier question with great enthusiasm. What young Master Yun mentioned is no great secret. Those old Surmise who attend the trade auctions are in fact the in-marrying husbands of the Mei family. Oh. Li Yunxiao was a little stunned, but Li Feiyu seemed completely unfazed, as if he had known this all along. Li Yunxiao said thoughtfully, I've observed the Mei family's observation power a few times. It seems to be a very strong innate ability. I previously thought it was passed down through bloodline inheritance, but it seems I guessed wrong. Zhu Yi said in surprise, Young Master Yun's observation skills are truly formidable. To have thought of bloodline inheritance already puts you ahead of many others. That ability is indeed a part of our bloodline, but that only accounts for 1/3 of it. Another third comes from our cultivation technique, the observation art that my Mei family has passed down for generations. As for the final third, that is a secret, so please forgive me for not being able to disclose it. Not at all. Lady Juyi, you are too kind, Li Yunxiao replied. The Mei family's home was not far from Fengwu City. Soon the warship emerged from the void and entered a lush, verdant valley brimming with spiritual energy like a secluded paradise. The chariot flew directly over an elegant residence, and the three of them disembarked. Zhu Yi immediately had a banquet prepared. All manner of fine liquors and jade-like fruits were brought out one after another, served by maids of various appearances, creating a beautiful and pleasant scene. Li Yunxiao laughed. If I hadn't come to your Mei Valley, my impression of the Mei family would still be just a bunch of old men and a somber atmosphere. Who could have imagined it would be such a completely different scene? The three walked into an elegant hall where Jiu Yi politely invited the two to be seated. Li Feiyu raised a cup of the fine liquor, took a light sip, and praised, The Mei family's 100-flower jade dew is even better than a spirit pill or wondrous medicine. Jiu Yi smiled. The 100-flower jade dew is extremely difficult to refine. Its effects are comparable to the ice jade bead that young Master Yun obtained. Oh. Li Yunxiao was surprised and took a sip. Zhu Yi adjusted her glasses and said, Actually, the reason I invited you two here is for another matter, which is... Before she could finish, a glug-glug sound came from Li Yunxiao's mouth. After tasting the first sip, he had felt a stream of spiritual energy flow into his dantian, reaping considerable benefits. Overjoyed, he disregarded everything else and picked up the entire jug, chugging it down. This left both Ju Yi and Li Feiyu with their jaws wide open. Although Li Feiyu also wanted to drink so freely, he was a guest after all. How could he abandon his decorum? Li Yunxiao, completely shameless, drank his fill and laughed heartily. "Ha ha, this wine is delicious. Lady Ju Yi, could you gift me a few jars?" "Ahem, young Master Yun is truly magnanimous." Li Feiyu coughed emphatically, reminding him to mind his manners, wishing he could pretend not to know someone so brazen. Ju Yi's face darkened. "I don't know how much stock our Mei family has left. I'll have someone check. But let's not talk about that for now. Let's get down to business." She was afraid that if they didn't, all the wine would be gone before they could even start. Li Yunxiao chuckled, took out a thumb-sized piece of Tianzhao Kuijin and placed it on the table. "Very well. Since Lady Ju Yi recognizes this, what price are you willing to pay for it?" Ju Yi's eyes lit up, not hiding her desire in the slightest. "Forgive my bluntness, but may I ask if this is all you have, young Master Yun? This is all there is." Li Yunxiao cut her off with a wave of his hand. "Since Lady Ju Yi knows what this is, how could there possibly be a large amount of it?" A look of disappointment crossed Ju Yi's face. "That's not necessarily true. Although that Northern Sky cold iron is inferior to this, it's still a peak-level smithing material. That pillar of young Master Yun's must have weighed at least 1,000 pounds. Li Feiyu was inwardly shocked to hear this. "Lady Ju Yi, stop being mysterious. What exactly is this? It's even superior to Northern Sky cold iron." Ju Yi sighed. "It is the very thing I have been searching for so long but could not find. Tianzhao Kuijin. How could it not be?" Li Feiyu was also extremely shocked. Tianzhao Kuijin was the #1 smithing material in the world. Even a thumb-sized piece, if integrated into a weapon, could make it indestructible. Even the Tower of Myriad Treasures might not have it in stock. Ju Yi said, "I don't know if this thumb-sized piece will be enough. Young Master Yun, is your Northern Sky cold iron for sale?" Li Yunxiao asked curiously, "I wonder what kind of profound armament Lady Ju Yi wishes to forge that requires both Tianzhao Kuijin and Northern Sky cold iron?" Ju Yi shook her head with a bitter smile. "That is also a secret of my clan. I need to forge a supremely sharp weapon to cut through an object. If I could get about 10 thumb-sized pieces of Tianzhao Kuijin, it would probably be enough. If young Master Yun can provide it, my clan would be willing to empty its coffers to give you a satisfactory price." Li Yunxiao's heart stirred. For Jiu Yi, as the leader of the Mei family, to say such words showed that she was facing a major dilemma. However, Tianzhao Kuijin was far more precious than Northern Sky cold iron, and he needed it himself. He could only say helplessly, "I don't have any more Tianzhao Kuijin, but I wonder what it is that Lady Ju Yi wants to cut." Ju Yi shook her head, unwilling to say. "Since it is so, what price do you want for this piece of Tianzhao Kuijin, young Master Yun?" Li Yunxiao pondered for a moment and said, "The price for this Tianzhao Kuijin is negotiable. I could even gift it to Lady Ju Yi. But I have a matter I need to understand." Both Ju Yi and Li Feiyu were bewildered. Li Yunxiao didn't seem like a generous person. What matter could possibly make him so magnanimous? Li Yunxiao stared at her and said word by word, "I am a friend of Mei Donger. I want to know what happened between her and the Mei family." Ju Yi's expression changed drastically. Her gaze instantly became sharp and fierce. Two beams of light like condensed killing intent staring at Li Yunxiao as she berated him. "So you are the one who killed Wang Da and implicated our Mei family." Li Yunxiao knew he couldn't hide it and said with a bitter smile, "There was a misunderstanding. If Lady Ju Yi has the patience, you could listen to my detailed explanation." Ju Yi snorted heavily and immediately sent out a signal. In an instant, several powerful auras surged from all directions. Although no figures were seen, they had already locked onto Li Yunxiao. Li Feiyu's face also changed abruptly. Ju Yi said coldly, "Today I will see what you have to say. As for Mei Donger, I have already sent someone to invite her." You will be able to see each other soon." A hint of displeasure appeared on Li Yunxiao's face, but thinking of Mo Xiaochuan being there, he figured there wouldn't be a major problem. He suppressed his anger, sat down calmly, and recounted the whole story, finally concluding, "I understand your relationship with Mei Donger. It was because she is my friend that I helped her. As for killing Wang Da, Wang Gong already knows I did it. With his status as a grandmaster, he naturally wouldn't direct his anger toward your family." Zhou Yi listened with suspicion and snorted coldly. "Are you saying you repelled a wisp of Wang Gong's divine sense? That's utter nonsense." Li Feiyu spoke up. "What young Master Yun said about repelling Wang Gong is true. I witnessed the entire process." "What?" Zhu Yi was astounded. She naturally trusted Li Feiyu's words. Her shocked gaze swept over Li Yunxiao as she said in disbelief, "Could it be that you are a martial emperor?" Given Li Yunxiao's age, no one would believe he was a martial emperor. Li Feiyu explained, "Young Master Yun relied on that incredibly powerful puppet to force back Wang Gong's divine sense. Wang Gong was also afraid that raising his strength too much would affect Wang Zhen's martial talent, so he had been suppressing his power within the martial sovereign realm." Only then did Zhu Yi's suspicion fade, but her expression remained ice-cold. She said softly, "Even so, you cannot escape responsibility for the death of the ghost matron and the destruction of the tavern." Li Yunxiao's anger flared. A fierce, sharp glint shot from his eyes, his killing intent almost tangible, as he stared at her and said word by word, "That old hag deserved to die. If Lady Zhu Yi is not convinced, you are welcome to try and fight me." He had never been questioned like this before. If it weren't for Mei Donger's sake, he would have turned hostile long ago. Now he had reached his limit. I would also like to see what kind of power a young man who can force back Wang Gong's divine sense possesses." Zhu Yi's temper also flared. She placed her hand on the wine cup on the table, then her 5 fingers tightened, and with a sudden flick, the wine in the cup instantly transformed into a cutting slash that shot through the air toward Li Yunxiao. The spot where Li Yunxiao had been sitting was instantly sliced in half, but his real body had already vanished. In the next moment, he appeared behind Zhu Yi, a bone-chilling killing intent radiating from him. A sword light left his hand slashing down swiftly. Zhu Yi leaned to the side, dodging the sword beam. Her eyes narrowed as she looked at the sword in Li Yunxiao's hand, instantly recognizing it as a 9th-tier profound armament, and a divine weapon at that, forged from northern sky cold iron. After ducking, Zhu Yi leaned back slightly. Then she twisted in midair, extending her left leg in a direct kick. A shocking amount of Yuan power radiated from the attack. The force of Zhu Yi's kick was immense. Li Yunxiao raised his arm to block, but the residual shockwaves still struck his body, forcing him back step by step. A ring of golden light erupted from his hand, barely resisting the immense force. Li Feiyu's eyes narrowed, his heart filled with suspicion. Just now, he had clearly seen a flash of golden light, almost as if his opponent had transformed, but the powerful shockwave stirred up so much dust that he couldn't be certain. "You should just summon that puppet of yours," Zhu Yi said, her voice and eyes as cold as ice, thick with killing intent. "Otherwise, with your cultivation level, forget about fighting me. A single casual move would be enough to shatter your bones and turn you to dust." Li Yunxiao said softly, "Are you suggesting you want a fair fight with me? Then what's with all the divine senses locked onto me from all sides?" Zhu Yi retorted petulantly. "I was just giving you a kind reminder so you wouldn't die with regrets. Since you don't need it, then you can go straight to hell." 3 different phantoms appeared behind her, each one bizarre and terrifying, churning the surrounding space into chaos. Under Zhu Yi's control, the 3 phantoms suddenly dispersed, emitting a grating sound like shifting sand as they pressed down on Li Yunxiao. Li Yunxiao had at least several ways to deal with this move, but he had his reservations and didn't dare to use them. Li Feiyu, known as one of the 4 prodigies of the northern region, was standing right there. The man was knowledgeable and well-traveled. If he recognized his techniques, it would be extremely troublesome. "Hong Chen Ning Wang An Hao Yue!" Li Yunxiao shouted, and the northern sky cold iron sword appeared in his hand. The powerful force of his aura collided with the vibrations from the 3 phantoms. Sword light flashed as the two forces intertwined and clashed. The three phantoms were knocked away. Yu Ying Dang Qi Jian Hui Chang. Li Yunxiao leaped into the air and shouted again. A sea of sword qi erupted from behind him. Although it wasn't a domain, it manifested as an endless ocean of sword energy. While he couldn't grasp the core of the heavenly yang tyrant body art when it came to comprehension of the sword Dao, there was no one in the world stronger than him. He could at least simulate 70 to 80% of its power. Yu Ji Shuo Qian Kun, unfazed. Zhou Yi flicked her finger, drawing a seal. Rings of golden light appeared in the air, attempting to trap Li Yunxiao. Instead of retreating, Li Yunxiao advanced his northern sky cold iron sword, stabbing wildly in the air. In an instant, the golden rings were all sliced in two, dissolving into fine powder and vanishing. Only then did Zhu Yi feel a true sense of shock. She couldn't believe that he could fight her on even ground without using the puppet. But what was even more startling was that 9th-tier Northern Sky Cold Iron Sword. Even if she were to use a 9th-tier profound armament, she would easily suffer a backlash from its aura. How could a mere martial sovereign like him wield it so freely? "Stop!" she shouted, realizing she couldn't do anything to him and raising a hand to call for a truce. "This young master may be in May Valley, but I'm not a member of the May family. You start a fight when you want, and you stop it when you want." Li Yunxiao's anger flared. He didn't know why, but after his reincarnation, he was constantly forced to deal with these small fries whom he wouldn't have even glanced at in his past life, and now he was being pushed around by them. An indescribable rage surged within him. In an instant, Zhu Yi and Li Feiyu stared their eyes wide with shock. Black patterns began to appear on Li Yunxiao's skin, spreading across his entire body. It was the telltale sign of demonic corruption. "Gu Feiyang, wake up!" The demon dragon roared suddenly from within his soul, having sensed that something was wrong with Li Yunxiao's state. "Wake your sister's head!" Li Yunxiao roared back. Waves of demonic qi spread over the northern sky. Cold iron sword and his entire body was enveloped in black demonic energy. The sword's aura pulsed with a terrifyingly dark light. An icy voice uttered a sword art from his lips. Star annihilation, the northern sky, cold iron sword turned completely black. With one slash, the black demonic qi laced with a chilling autumnal light instantly turned the sky gloomy. A fissure of darkness ripped through the air, rushing towards Zhu Yi. Under the might of that sword, Zhu Yi, a powerful martial sovereign, actually felt a tremor of fear. "You ignorant fool! How dare you act so arrogantly in May Valley?" An old man suddenly appeared in the sky, one of the divine senses that had been locked onto Li Yunxiao. He jumped directly into the black demonic qi and slapped out with his palm, creating a tremendous tremor. Like sunlight piercing the darkness of night, his attack instantly buried the sword art. Li Yunxiao's eyes were glacial as he stared at the man, his gaze like two sharp blades brimming with murderous intent. Just as he was about to make a second move, the demon dragon appeared within his soul. It raised its hands, summoned the divine bell of the dynasty, and struck it down. A distant, ancient bell toll echoed. The divine bell of the dynasty radiated golden light that shone upon Li Yunxiao's body, beginning to suppress the demonic qi. Everyone heard the clear, crisp sound. Even the martial emperor who had just intervened frowned, not knowing where the sound came from. As the power of the divine bell of the dynasty rang out, Li Yunxiao gradually calmed down. The black patterns on his body receded, and in a flash he returned to normal. Although he hadn't lost his mind and was still conscious, he had been influenced by that evil emotion. This was something that should never have happened to him. The demon dragon, hearing his thoughts, added, "Not only that you unconsciously used Gu Feiyang's sword art. The style was a bit different, so it's unlikely they recognized it. Learning a few evil techniques at such a young age gives you the right to run wild. Today I will discipline you on behalf of your elders." The martial emperor's killing intent rose, and he prepared to strike again. Just then a cold voice echoed from the distance. The sky suddenly changed color as an immense, powerful pressure came crashing down. Mo Xiaochuan roared, "Discipline, young Master Yun, I just arrived and heard something so exciting. I'd love to see which one of you has such a big mouth." The martial emperor was horrified. He looked up to see a massive hand seal as bright as the sun already rushing towards him. It was almost impossible to dodge. The entire seal crashed down with a world-shaking boom. The man was blasted from the ground straight into the sky, punching a large hole through the roof of the hall. After doing this, Mo Xiaochuan strode to Li Yunxiao's side and asked anxiously, "Young Master Yun, are you all right?" Li Yunxiao shook his head slightly. "I'm fine. Why are you here? You shouldn't just attack people at the drop of a hat. What if you kill someone?" Mo Xiaochuan's face fell and he said awkwardly, "I'll pay attention next time. I held back just now so that guy shouldn't be dead, right?" He looked up at the sky and after a long moment of not seeing the martial emperor fall back down, he added, "Oh, did I knock him into outer space?" Li Yunxiao reprimanded him. "Stop talking nonsense. Do you think you're a peak martial emperor who can shift the heavens and upend the sun and moon? It's daytime, where would you find outer space?" He then said thoughtfully, "I'm guessing he was knocked into the sun." Zhu Yi and Li Feiyu broke out in a cold sweat, listening to their conversation. But more than that, they were shaken. Such a powerful martial emperor was being treated and lectured like a servant by Li Yunxiao. Furthermore, his respect and obedience towards Li Yunxiao were completely undisguised. Aside from shock, Zhu Yi felt extremely anxious. The expert who had just been sent flying was one of the Mei family's only 2 martial emperors. The other one was now hiding somewhere, not daring to show his face. "Not good. Not good. Intruders in the valley." Shouts could be heard from the distance. "Capture them. Bring them to Lady Zhu Yi." Mo Xiaochuan's expression changed. "Not good. I ran ahead too fast. Hua Yuan and the others are still behind." He was about to go back and rescue them when he saw a group of people being rushed over from the distance. The warriors of the valley had captured Mei Donger Mo Hua Yuan and even Xiao Xuanzi and brought them over. "Lady Zhu Yi, these people trespassed into the valley and have been captured by us. There was another master whose whereabouts are unknown. It seems he flew in this direction." A warrior reported hurriedly, not noticing Mo Xiaochuan standing nearby. He secretly glanced at the mess all around and said in shock, Could it be that Lady Zhu Yi personally suppressed that person?" Zhu Yi's face was pale as she snapped, "All of you shut up. Release them immediately." The warrior was stunned for a moment, but he didn't dare to defy Zhu Yi's command and quickly ordered his subordinates to let them go. Zhu Yi suppressed the terror in her heart, steeling herself as she walked up to Mo Xiaochuan. She spoke respectfully. "Greetings to this martial emperor lord. I wonder what grudge our Mei Valley has with you that you would barge in and injure my people," Mo Xiaochuan said flatly. "No reason, just fooling around. Might makes right in this world. My strength is greater than yours, so I can do whatever I want. Isn't that how it works?" This... Zhu Yi was dumbfounded. She had thought that he would at least try to give a reason, for example, saying he was standing up for Li Yunxiao. She never expected that he would completely disregard the decorum of a powerful expert and speak so bluntly like a common rogue. "Lord, it's true that might makes right, but in this world there should at least be some reason and principle." Mo Xiaochuan said softly, "Some people are just like that. When they can't win a fight, they start talking about reason." Zhu Yi sighed deeply and didn't mention reason again. She steeled herself and continued, "Lord, you've had your fun now. I wonder when you might be willing to leave." She no longer had any hope of reclaiming her honor or getting revenge. She just hoped this group in front of her would leave as soon as possible. "We'll see how I feel," Mo Xiaochuan replied. Li Feiyu couldn't watch any longer. He stepped forward and said, No, this is all just a misunderstanding." Li Yunxiao, having completely recovered from his demonic state, said indifferently, "A misunderstanding, a very big one. I almost lost my life." Li Feiyu tried to salvage the situation. "Young Master Yun, they say you don't truly know someone until you've fought them. It was just a small misunderstanding. Besides, although the people of the Mei family were aggressive, Just now I think they were still a long way from being able to actually injure young Master Yoon. Why don't we all just talk things over peacefully? He continued. The Mei family has not vied for power recently and has no grievances with any faction. Their biggest partner is our Merchants League. Young Master Yoon, why must you press them so hard? Li Yunxiao snorted. I didn't come here to cause trouble in the first place. Let's just forget what happened. Consider it as if it never occurred. He then said, As for the matter of the profound Marvel sect, I will bear the full responsibility. Your Mei Valley can just push all the blame onto me when the time comes. But the matter concerning my friend must be made clear today. Hearing this, Ju Yi fell into a long silence. Seeing Li Feiyu's placating gaze, she finally let out a sigh. Everything can be discussed. Ju Yi once again had a banquet prepared in a different, equally lavish courtyard. However, the atmosphere was not as it was before becoming extremely tense. Ju Yi stared at Mei Donger and asked, Are you the daughter of Wan Bai? Mei Donger stood up, bowed her head and said, I am indeed Wan Bai's daughter. Mei Donger pays her respects to Lady Ju Yi. A frosty look appeared on Ju Yi's face. She said softly, The fact that you've managed to live until now shows you have great fortune. Li Yunxiao raised an eyebrow. What is the meaning of that? A sorrowful expression appeared on Mei Donger's face. Let me explain. Donger was born with an innate deficiency of the 5 uprights. Originally, I was not supposed to live past the age of 10. Li Yunxiao was shocked. The innate deficiency of the 5 uprights. Such a deficient physique actually exists in this world, but looking at your condition, I don't see anything abnormal. Mei Donger said, I don't know what happened either. Perhaps the illness has gotten better. The innate deficiency of the 5 uprights is one of the world's most incurable conditions. It is known that even a 9th-tier Grand Artificer would be helpless against it. How could it possibly heal on its own? However, it is a miracle that you have survived until now. Back then, you should have been punished along with your parents, but precisely because of this physique, my mother spared your life and expelled you from the Mei family. I never thought you would dare to find your way back. If not for your mother's actions back then, the Mei family would not be in such a dilemma today. And now you've gone out and caused more trouble, first offending the profound Marvel sect and now storming Mei Valley with this group. You and your mother are truly the bane of the Mei family. The atmosphere grew tense. Li Yunxiao said coldly, Lady Ju Yi, those words are very hard to hear. The only reason I'm sitting here listening to you ramble on is out of respect for Donger. If I hear another unpleasant word, don't blame me for slapping that face of yours. You... Ju Yi seethed with anger, but didn't dare to act against Li Yunxiao, her face so dark it looked like it could drip water. Li Feiyu hurriedly tried to make peace. Since we are all sitting together, let's talk things over slowly. There's no need to resort to violence. Let's try our best to resolve everything so that everyone can be happy. Mei Donger said in a gentle and conciliatory tone, Back then, when the ghost matron took me away, she also had a letter from my mother. It was only last year when the ghost matron passed away that I learned the truth. I am respecting my mother's wishes from back then. It was her greatest hope for me to return to Mei Valley. Impossible, Ju Yi said angrily. Your mother committed a heinous crime. It was already an act of immense kindness that you weren't punished along with her. You still want to return to Mei Valley. As long as I am the matriarch of the Mei family, that is absolutely impossible. Li Yunxiao frowned. Ju Yi's reaction was so strong. Could it be that Mei Donger's mother had done something so outrageous that it angered both men and gods? Even if he used force to make her return, it would become a huge hidden danger in the future. He couldn't help but ask, what exactly did that Wan Bai do back then to make Lady Ju Yi hate her so much? Ju Yi gritted her teeth. It is not just me who hates her. Every single person in Mei Valley hates her to the bone. Please listen carefully. Li Yunxiao's frown deepened. The matter seemed extremely difficult to resolve. Ju Yi pondered for a moment before speaking slowly. This matter concerns the core secret of the Mei family. But since young Master Yoon has asked, I will be direct. As I mentioned before, our Mei family possesses a powerful ability to appraise treasures. 1/3 of it comes from our bloodline, 1/3 from our cultivation technique, and the final third comes from the indeterminate river. Everyone fell silent, listening intently. They were all extremely curious, having never heard of this indeterminate river. After hearing the name, Mei Donger seemed to remember something, and her expression turned peculiar. The indeterminate river is a mysterious river that flows on its own beneath Mei Valley. From a young age, the people of my Mei family must cultivate our appraisal arts within the indeterminate river to achieve that divine skill and obtain our appraisal talent. The entrance to the indeterminate river is a gate. We don't know how many years it has existed or when it first appeared there. Every time a girl is born in Mei Valley, she must open the gate at the age of 5 and enter the indeterminate river to cultivate absorbing the power of the river's water. Those with high talent take 3 to 4 years to succeed. Those with lower talent need 10 years or more to achieve some initial success. Perhaps because of this cultivation method for generations, the women of the Mei family have only given birth to girls when they partner with outsiders. Li Yunxiao said in surprise. There's such a thing, I understand now. Is it that after you marry, this divine appraisal art is passed on to the man? Ju Yi nodded. Young Master Yun is truly intelligent. That is exactly right. After a man and woman are joined, the fetal essence is passed into the man's body. As the man continuously cultivates, it will gradually grow, and he will eventually master the appraisal art. The process was extremely complex and difficult to explain in a few words. Ju Yi retracted her gaze and glanced at Mei Donger, saying coldly, But over a decade ago, not long after your mother gave birth to you, she lost the key to the gate of the indeterminate river. Li Yunxiao said, Lost it? Does that mean for the past 10+ years, no one in the Mei family has been able to cultivate the divine appraisal art? Ju Yi shook her head. After Wan Bai lost the key, my mother was furious and cast her and Mei Donger's father into the depths of the indeterminate river. For the past decade, that gate has been forced open by my mother's power alone. For over 10 years, it has never been closed. But last year, my mother finally passed away from overexertion. So, that was the hidden story. No wonder the people of Mei Valley were so cold towards Mei Donger. Mei Donger said apologetically, I'm so sorry, Lady Ju Yi. On behalf of my mother, I apologize to you and the old matriarch. Sorry. Can your apology bring my mother back to life? Can your apology make that closed gate open once more? Ju Yi's emotions grew more and more agitated, and she couldn't help but say angrily, Your mother not only caused me to lose my mother, but she also plunged the Mei family into an unprecedented crisis. The direct consequence is the loss of our divine appraisal art. From now on, the name of the Mei family will fade from the continent. The atmosphere instantly stiffened. Li Yunxiao also frowned and said nothing. Li Feiyu was even more shocked. If that was the case, then the current members of the Mei family were the last generation to possess the divine appraisal art. This not only affected the Mei family itself, but also the operations of the Merchants' League. Li Yunxiao suddenly spoke. Lady Ju Yi, the peerless weapon you want to forge. Is it to break open that gate? Ju Yi nodded lightly. That's right. If we cannot break open that gate, the Mei family's divine appraisal art will be severed from this generation onwards. Li Yunxiao said, Can you let me take a look at that gate? Perhaps I can think of a way to help you open it. Given his status as a 9th-tier artificer in his past life, he spoke these words with utter confidence, as if stating a simple fact. Li Yunxiao frowned. If it's a tangible object, then the way to deal with it is naturally the path of destruction. Actually, you don't need to go through so much trouble. Wouldn't it be more effective to spend a large sum of money to invite a few peak martial emperors? Ju Yi smiled bitterly. Young Master Yun, are you truly unaware? Or are you feigning ignorance? How many peak martial emperors exist in this world? Even if my Mei family exhausted its entire fortune, we might not be able to hire one. We had previously considered gathering all the strength of Mei Valley to forge a divine weapon. If we had enough Tianzhao Kuijin as the material, I think we could have cut it open. Her eyes once again filled with hope. I see that young Master Yoon's treasured sword is made of northern sky cold iron and is a 9th-tier existence, if you were willing to part with it. Absolutely not. Li Yunxiao refused decisively. That northern sky cold iron sword is related to the sky sword formation I'm refining. Every single sword is extremely precious. Zhu Yi said, "What if I let Mei Donger return to the Mei family?" She could see that Li Yunxiao was very protective of Mei Donger. Whether it was friendship or love, as long as it could solve the Mei family's current problem, everything else was a non-issue. Mei Donger's heart trembled and she looked at Li Yunxiao with a pleading gaze. Li Yunxiao said, "This sword is extremely important to me. I will not part with it. But I can try to think of a way to help you open that gate." Zhou Yi looked disappointed. Young Master Yoon's sword strike just now was indeed heaven-shaking, but it's still not enough to break open that gate. If there is truly no other way, I can only rely on the Merchants' League for assistance. Li Feiyu said, "The Tower of Myriad Treasures will certainly provide full assistance. However, even our Tower of Myriad Treasures cannot command the power of a peak martial emperor, but we will do our best in terms of material resources. But I see that young Master Yoon's divine abilities are truly not small. Lady Zhu Yi, you might as well let him try. Perhaps there will be an unexpected result." Mei Donger suddenly spoke up. "Lady Zhu Yi, just let young Master Yoon try. Besides, my parents were cast into the indeterminate river back then. I also want to go pay my respects soon and even retrieve their remains." Zhou Yi said, "Their remains are definitely gone. Even my mother couldn't dive too deep into the indeterminate river. Ordinary female disciples can only cultivate in the outermost layer. With my strength back then, I could at most dive 500 meters. Your parents had a gravity art cast upon them and were sunk directly. It's estimated that their bodies have long since turned to dust with not even bones remaining." Hearing this, Mei Donger's heart ached and she began to cry. "My mother committed a great sin and Donger cannot atone for her. I only hope to make an effort. Even if it's not possible, just paying my respects would fulfill a wish in my heart." Zhu Yi snorted coldly. "That still depends on whether we can open the gate. If young Master Yoon is willing to try, please follow me." Zhou Yi led everyone for a while, entering a plum blossom garden fragrant with fragrance. Inside the garden was a small, exquisite teleportation array, its plum blossom shape ancient and archaic. Zhou Yi said, "This is the teleportation array to the indeterminate river. The previous generations of the Mei family have tried every method but could not find the specific location of the indeterminate river. Only through the spatial coordinates left in this teleportation array can we teleport there. Everyone please step on." Li Yunxiao looked at the teleportation array in surprise. This is not a contemporary object. The Mei family's inheritance might be very ancient, and it's very likely it began when they acquired that mysterious appraisal power. Several people stepped into the array. Zhu Yi began to perform hand seals to activate it. Soon various lights shot out, and everyone disappeared from the plum blossom garden. In the next moment they appeared in a bright open space. All around was a vast hazy whiteness stretching far into the distance, and there, standing tall, was a magnificent gate. "This?" Li Yunxiao was stunned and smiled bitterly. "It really is a gate. Apart from the door there seems to be nothing else. This kind of space was likely opened by an ancient great power. I don't know where it has drifted to now. It can only be entered through the coordinates in the plum garden. It's perfectly normal that the Mei family's ancestors couldn't find this space." Zhu Yi said, "That is correct. Young Master Yoon's guess is exactly the same as our ancestors. Therefore, these spatial coordinates are exceptionally important. Once lost, the entire divine appraisal art of the Mei family would be completely lost. This is the gate that leads to the indeterminate river. Young Master Yoon is there a way to break it." Several people stepped forward and began to touch the gate with their hands. It was entirely the color of ancient bronze, and to the touch it felt like a very ordinary metal. There seemed to be no clues. The two large knockers were several meters high, difficult to reach. Strange, this is just ordinary bronze. Could there be a powerful restriction on it, which is why it can't be broken? Mo Huayuan was the first to voice his doubt, but he had already scanned it with his divine sense and found no tricks. "Young Master Yoon, have you found anything? Li Yunxiao looked up at the towering gate, a look of doubt on his face. Lady Ju Yi, have you tried? No matter what kind of attack, it can't move this bronze gate at all. Ju Yi sighed. That is indeed the case. We even used a 9th-tier profound armament, and it caused a martial emperor expert to be severely injured by the armament's backlash, yet we couldn't leave a single mark on this gate. Li Feiyu was shaken with fear. A martial emperor, using a 9th-tier profound armament, couldn't do it. Even if a peak martial emperor came, they might not be able to break this gate. Ju Yi smiled bitterly. That is why the Mei family has fallen into an unprecedented crisis. Li Yunxiao said, I understand. This gate is not actually here. What? His words immediately shocked everyone, and they fell into deep thought. Jiu Yi asked in shock, What do you mean by that, young Master Yun? Can you explain it more clearly? Li Yunxiao nodded slightly. This gate is like the teleportation array, a crucial link connecting two places. It must have a physical form standing in some space, and in another space it projects an image. A chill ran through Jiu Yi's heart. You mean to say, this gate is not a physical entity, but a projection? How is that possible? It clearly has a tangible feel. She found it hard to accept this reality. If that were true, then the Mei family would never have any hope of opening the gate. Li Yunxiao smiled faintly. Who said a projection must be an illusion? Why can't it be a physical entity? This concept was difficult for everyone to accept at first, but upon careful thought it seemed very possible. The line between real and fake is not so clear. If one is powerful enough, projecting a physical entity is not impossible. Ju Yi said blankly, If that's the case, doesn't it mean my Mei family has no hope forever? Her face turned ashen. She fundamentally did not want to accept Li Yunxiao's speculation, but in her heart she had no doubt. Because just as Mo Huayun said, the gate was just ordinary bronze, and there were no formation restrictions on it. The fact that they used 9th-tier profound armaments and the power of martial emperors without being able to move it or leave a mark was simply impossible. But if what Li Yunxiao said was true, it explained everything perfectly. Zhou Yi felt the world spin around her, completely dazed. Li Yunxiao smiled. Lady Zhu Yi, there's no need for that. There are many talented and extraordinary people in this world. Even if this gate is a physical projection, it is still possible to pass through it without a key. Is that true? Zhu Yi snapped back to her senses from despair, grabbing Li Yunxiao's hands, completely losing her composure. But she didn't care about that at all. Is what you said true, young Master Yun? Do you really have a way to get past this gate? Li Yunxiao shook his head. I can't, but I know someone who can. Ah, who? Li Feiyu, full of curiosity, asked first. He prided himself on knowing many of the supreme experts and extraordinary talents of the heavenly martial world, but he couldn't think of anyone who could solve this kind of situation. Li Yunxiao's expression turned serious, and a hint of fighting spirit even flashed in his eyes as he said word by word, In this world, the one with the most thorough research and deepest understanding of spatial arts, who can pass through several spaces with a lift of his hand and a step of his foot. Even his true body's location is unknown to anyone. Even if he appears right in front of you looking very much alive, it's very possible he is simultaneously appearing in several places, and all of them are his true body. Xiao Xuanzi, who had come along, couldn't help but say, So powerful. How can there be such an incredible ability in this world? After he spoke, he shrank back, sticking out his tongue quietly because he realized the surroundings had fallen completely silent, and everyone's expression had become extremely grave. Li Feiyu swallowed hard and said with trepidation, Young Master Yun, could it be? Li Yunxiao nodded. It is indeed that person. I think many people could break this gate, but if it's him, it will definitely work. Ju Yi's face also turned a little pale, as if she was still in shock and hadn't recovered. She smiled bitterly. Young Master Yun must be joking. Even if that lord has such divine abilities, what ability does my Mei family have to invite him? Li Feiyu nodded. I'm afraid even if the Tower of Myriad Treasures came forward, that person might not give us face. Mo Xiaochuan remained silent, just quietly looking at Li Yunxiao, lost in his own thoughts. Mei Donger was extremely curious. Like Xiao Xuanzi, she was completely lost and couldn't help but ask, Who are you all talking about? Mo Huayuan sighed. Who else could it be? It's that martial emperor lord who can wield spatial arts to the point of perfection. It is rumored that he is very close to the divine realm of the 10 directions, on the heaven and earth. Power chart decades ago, he ranked second with his world-shaking battle record and was granted the title Void by the Holy Realm. The second martial emperor, Zhuo Qingfan. Mei Donger was also extremely terrified, her face flushing red at the mention of this name. Those names were like divine words existing almost only in legends. Many martial artists on the Tianwu continent had heard of these great names. Mo Xiaochuan snorted coldly. Although I don't deny that Zhuo Qingfan is very powerful as for ranking second, I think it's at least partly due to some luck. His face showed a look of defiance naturally in defense of his master Gu Feiyang. In his heart, Gu Feiyang was forever the strongest. He didn't even think Ao Changkong could defeat his master. Mo Xiaochuan's words made everyone break out in a cold sweat. They all fell silent, not knowing how to continue. Anyone who dared to comment on the 10 great martial emperors was either an arrogant fool or ignorant, but Mo Xiaochuan's strength was extremely powerful, so he was clearly not an arrogant fool. Li Yunxiao said in a deep voice, Zhuo Qingfan's strength is formidable. His ranking as second is not wrong. Mo Xiaochuan's body trembled as he looked at Li Yunxiao. In this world there was no supreme expert that could catch his master's eye, yet he held Zhuo Qingfan in such high regard. It was a little unexpected for him. Everyone else also looked at each other, not knowing how to resolve the situation, and fell silent. It seemed that Li Yunxiao was extremely familiar with Zhuo Qingfan. They all frowned slightly, feeling extremely curious, but not knowing. Mo Huayuan was even more shocked in his heart. He had many guesses about Li Yunxiao's identity, but all of them had been ruled out, and for some reason his own elder brother refused to tell him, which only made him more unbearably curious. Zhou Yi said distressfully, Sir Li from the Tower of Myriad Treasures, can you persuade Lord Zhuo to act? Li Feiyu smiled bitterly and shook his head. Lady Zhu Yi overestimates the Tower of Myriad Treasures. Zhuo Qingfan is the most elusive of the 10 great martial emperors. Even if the Holy Realm itself came forward, what you see might not even be his true body. Zhou Yi knew these words were true. She said to Li Yunxiao, Young Master Yun, could you recommend someone else? Li Yunxiao pondered for a moment before saying, There are a few others who might be able to solve this problem, but I'm not certain, and inviting them would be no easier than finding Zhuo Qingfan. There is one more option we can try. The Tianye family, with their unrivaled puppet arts, might be able to break this deadlock. The Tianye family. Li Feiyu couldn't help but ask, Young Master Yun's 8th-tier puppet. Is it a product of the Tianye family? Li Yunxiao didn't answer, only saying lightly, Although the Tianye family is difficult to find, they still have connections with some of the continent's powers. If the Tower of Myriad Treasures can help find them, it would be much easier than finding Zhuo Qingfan, and much easier to persuade. Li Feiyu said, That is true. I will have someone search for the whereabouts of the Tianye family as soon as I return. Zhu Yi, seeing a glimmer of hope, nodded. Thank you, young Master Yun, for your guidance, and thank you, Sir Li, for your assistance. Li Feiyu waved his hand. Lady Zhu Yi is too polite. If the Mei family's divine art were to be lost, it would also be a great loss for the Merchants' League. Mo Huayuan suddenly spoke up. This door is perfectly seamless. I wonder where the key is inserted. The keyhole must point towards the physical space on the other side, forming a connection. If everyone attacks the keyhole together, we might be able to open a passage. Li Yunxiao nodded. That's right. Master Mo is correct. But if we fail, the only connection between the 2 independent spaces will be severed, and the indeterminate river will truly disappear forever. Mo Huayuan, hearing himself called Master Mo, while his own brother was called Xiao Chuan, felt extremely awkward. He said sheepishly, Young Master Yun, you can just call me Huayuan. Zhou Yi said, The technique here is extremely exquisite. That key is no ordinary key. It is a jade pendant and a set of spiritual incantations that, when combined, can open this door. I see? Mo Huayuan said, a look of admiration on his face, clearly impressed by the craftsmanship of this place. Mei Donger's delicate body trembled slightly. She held out her hand, and a piece of translucent, beautiful jade appeared in her palm. This jade. Could it be that key? Ah! Zhou Yi cried out in shock, rushing forward and snatching the beautiful jade from Mei Donger's hand. She held it up, examining it carefully, her body trembling violently. Mei Donger said, "This is the jade pendant my mother left for me. She told the ghost matron to bring it out of May Valley with me. The letter she left said that when I grew up I should return to May Valley with this jade pendant. Could this be the key?" "Wan Bai, what kind of trick are you playing?" Zhu Yi's face became somewhat ferocious as she roared in a low voice. "You traitor! You indirectly caused my mother's death! You wicked woman! What on earth are you trying to do?" Everyone was stunned. It turned out the so-called key was not lost, but had been secretly taken out of May Valley by Wan Bai. Mei Donger couldn't help but ask, "But why? Why would my mother risk her own life to take away the jade pendant only to want me to bring it back later?" Zhu Yi slowly regained her composure and said coldly, "Your mother has always been an eccentric. Who could know her thoughts, humph?" Li Yunxiao's gaze rested on the beautiful jade, and he said thoughtfully, "So that's how it is. This is the only way it makes sense." "What, young Master Yun, have you figured something out?" Mei Donger asked anxiously. After learning that the key wasn't lost, her heart was in turmoil, not understanding why her mother would do such a thing even at the cost of her own life. The reason for it was clearly not simple. A trace of pity appeared in Li Yunxiao's eyes. "Do you really want to know?" Mei Donger, innocent and naive, replied, "Of course, is there anything I can't know?" The others' hearts also stirred as if they had thought of something. Li Yunxiao pointed to the beautiful jade. "This jade pendant is called the Mu Tian Ling Yue. It is a type of peerless divine jade, its value no less than Tianzhao Kuijin. Moreover, it is a rare divine object that can suppress the innate deficiency of the 5 uprights." Ah! Mei Donger's whole body trembled. Even in her innocence she understood at that moment. She was completely stunned, her large, beautiful, and moving eyes quickly filling with tears. They streamed down her face as she clutched her head and wailed, "Wow! I understand. So Mother stole the key to save me. She was willing to die. Wow!" Although she had never met her mother, she had imagined countless scenarios in her mind, but she had never expected this hidden truth. The boundless familial love flowing through her made her feel incredibly warm, but also unable to bear it. Zhu Yi also fell silent, a look of shock in her eyes as she clutched the Mu Tianling Yue, biting her lip. "Oh, ack." The entire space was filled with only Mei Donger's wails. Everyone knew that they couldn't comfort her at this moment. They could only let her vent her feelings. Although Zhu Yi had hated Wan Bai to the bone at this moment, she was also moved by this love. The hatred from before seemed to have vanished into thin air the moment the key returned. "Mei Donger, although Wan Bai was at fault, she has paid for it with her life. As for you, you have brought back the key, which is a great merit. I will allow you to rejoin the Mei family. Moreover, you may borrow this Mu Tianling Yue jade at any time to suppress your condition." Her decision was already an act of extraordinary forgiveness. Li Feiyu also nodded repeatedly. Li Yunxiao said, "There's no need. The innate deficiency of the 5 uprights will heal on its own once she reaches adulthood. This is also why Wan Bai told Donger to return the jade pendant after she grew up. So that's how it is." Zhu Yi shook her head and sighed. "Your mother and father's union back then was strongly opposed by the clan. My mother was too stubborn, and the clan rules are strict. If not for that, with Wan Bai's peerless talent and the favor my mother had for her, she could have discussed it with her. I suspect she was worried that the discussion would fail and instead make my mother more vigilant, making it even harder to obtain the Mu Tianling Yue. That's why she was willing to pay with her life to secure a future for you." Wow. Mei Donger didn't know what else to say. Besides wailing, she could only wail, having completely dissolved into tears. Li Yunxiao said, "Lady Zhu Yi, since the key has been found, why not open this gate so we can witness it? and also let Donger pay respects to her parents. Mei Donger's body trembled and she momentarily stopped crying. Her eyes, suddenly bright, stared eagerly at the gate. Then she looked at Ju Yi with a mix of sorrow and anticipation. "All right. This gate has not been opened since my mother passed away." She held the beautiful jade in her palm and gently folded her hands. A stream of light flowed out. Under her chanted incantation, the entire jade pendant slowly rose and flew towards the gate. Ju Yi's hands formed a seal and a beam of green light shot out from the jade pendant, striking the gate. The light gradually spread, forming the shape of a snowflake that slowly expanded. The edges of the snowflake began to rotate, and a rumbling sound came from the distance. Decades. I've finally heard this sound again. Ju Yi was so excited she could hardly contain herself, her eyes fixed on the opening gate. A strange sensation drifted out from within. Such dense spiritual energy. What kind of space is the indeterminate river in? The spiritual energy fluctuation is so dense, no less than in Yanwu City. Li Yunxiao was greatly astonished, a sharp light flashing in his eyes as if he were contemplating something. Rumble. The gate opened completely. A hazy, gentle light flickered within like a gemstone. "Everyone welcome to the indeterminate river. You are the first outsiders to visit the indeterminate river in thousands of years." Ju Yi was overjoyed. Although bringing outsiders here was indeed improper, she couldn't suppress the joy in her heart. Besides, she couldn't refuse their request. "Mother!" Mei Donger cried out in grief and rushed in first, sobbing uncontrollably. Everyone glanced at each other, shaking their heads and sighing, and followed Ju Yi inside. The scene before them immediately shocked everyone. The gate opened onto a sheer cliff face. Before them was a vast sea of clouds, or more accurately, a sea of spiritual energy. Below, the spiritual energy was so dense it flowed like liquid. Just one look was enough to make one feel refreshed and indescribably comfortable. Li Feiyu said in shock, "Heavens, how can such a strong concentration of spiritual energy exist?" The Mei family has never been known to produce any peerless experts in the past few thousand years, but it's impossible for such an environment not to nurture them. Li Yunxiao frowned. Something's not right. There seems to be a problem with this spiritual energy. Zhou Yi was startled, a look of intense shock in her eyes. "Young Master Yun is truly amazing to have discovered the situation so quickly." Her eyes revealed a hint of bitterness. "I don't know why, but the spiritual energy here contains something unusual. The ancestors of the Mei family studied it for a long time before finding the source. Within this spiritual energy lies a type of poison called the river seal. The deadly poisons in the world that can affect a martial artist's cultivation can be counted on one's fingers. But I've never heard of this one," Li Feiyu said. "Could it be that in the past thousands of years, no predecessor has found a way to resolve it?" Ju Yi smiled bitterly. "Resolve it? Sir Li, this river seal is the key to the Mei family's divine appraisal art. It is precisely by absorbing a large amount of this poison that the people of the Mei family can cultivate the divine appraisal art. Moreover, our ancestors speculated that the reason the Mei family only gives birth to girls might also be related to this poison." This, Li Feiyu sighed. The world was vast, and there were truly too many strange things. Whether this river seal was good or bad was really hard to say. Ju Yi pointed to a spot on the cliff. "Mei Donger, your parents sank to the bottom of the river from this spot." "Mother, father," Mei Donger cried out, kneeling down. She felt the world turn dark and collapsed directly onto the cliff, fainting. Mo Huayuan knelt down, examined her briefly, and said, "She's fine, just fainted from emotional shock." Li Feiyu sighed. Anyone who encounters such a thing would be overcome with grief. Li Yunxiao also let out a soft sigh and asked Ju Yi, "Can I go down and take a look inside this indeterminate river?" "What, young Master Yun, you're going down?" Ju Yi was stunned for a moment, then said in surprise, "You're not afraid?" "Afraid of what?" Li Yunxiao smiled. "Afraid I'll only be able to have daughters in the future." Ju Yi's face flushed red. "That is, of course, a concern." Li Yunxiao laughed heartily. Daughters are fine. I quite like them. He glanced at Li Feiyu. Sir Li, are you interested in giving it a try? What about Xiao Chuan and Hua Yuan? The three men's faces turned a little pale, and they quickly shook their heads and stepped back. Xiao Xuanzi also took a step back, afraid Li Yunxiao would drag him down as well. They were all disciples of great families. Continuing the family line was a top priority of utmost importance. If they became unable to have sons, they would probably be slapped to death by their family elders. Young Master Yun, I think you shouldn't go down either. I doubt there's anything interesting to see, Mo Xiaochuan said awkwardly. He didn't want his master to be without heirs. It's fine, you all just wait for me here. Li Yunxiao turned and, under everyone's shocked gazes, leaped into the indeterminate river, quickly disappearing from sight. Mo Xiaochuan's face was slightly pale. Lady Ju Yi, are there any dangers down there? Ju Yi shook her head. The spiritual energy here has been analyzed countless times by our ancestors. Apart from the river seal, there's nothing else. But at a depth of 500 meters, the river seal's poison is very strong. Even I don't dare to dive too deep. When that substance accumulates to a certain degree, it becomes highly corrosive, and the body simply cannot withstand it. Hearing this, Mo Xiaochuan said nothing more, and sat down cross-legged on the cliff, beginning to wait. As Li Yunxiao fell into the river water, he immediately felt an indescribably cool and comfortable sensation. This river was essentially formed from spiritual energy, and it poured into his body. The demon dragon's voice came through. Are you planning to cultivate here and break through to the martial emperor realm, so much so that you don't even care about continuing your family line? Humph, it's just a bit of poison. What can it possibly do to me? Li Yunxiao activated his technique, and a layer of golden light immediately covered his body, separating him from the river water as he continued to sink deeper. If you're blocking out the spiritual liquid like this, how are you going to cultivate? The demon dragon asked, confused. A sharp glint flashed in Li Yunxiao's eyes. Who said I wanted to cultivate? I was originally planning to return to Yanwu City, but it seems there's no need for that now. The demon dragon was shocked. Could it be that you want to... A beam of light shot out from between Li Yunxiao's eyebrows. The divine realm tablet, now half his height, appeared beside him, and they continued to sink together. The spiritual energy here is even more terrifying than in Yanwu City. Although it contains a certain poison, it should be enough to repair this tablet. After it's repaired, if I expel all the spiritual energy from within, perhaps the remnants of the river seal poison won't remain. Li Yunxiao said thoughtfully. Forget it, I thought you weren't afraid of only having daughters, the demon dragon said with contempt. Li Yunxiao snorted coldly. What does it matter to you whether I have sons or daughters? If you keep talking nonsense, I'll pull you out and throw you into this indeterminate river to see for yourself. The demon dragon's face changed drastically. Knowing Li Yunxiao's personality, he was fully capable of doing it. He looked sullen but didn't dare to say another word. Li Yunxiao and the Divine Realm tablet became one, creating a vacuum around them. He continuously formed hand seals, sending them into the tablet. The Divine Realm tablet glowed and streams of light flowed within it. Li Yunxiao transformed into a beam of light and shot directly into the Divine Realm tablet. Divine art characters constantly appeared in the space within the tablet, emitting a powerful rhythm. Streams of the power of rules flickered unstably, impossible to grasp. With a loud shout, Li Yunxiao's hands moved through the air. Each finger press left after images and phantasmal light. Soon, a round golden formation condensed in front of him, expanding into the boundless space. At this moment, in the indeterminate river, a vortex began to form with the Divine Realm tablet at its center. A massive amount of liquefied spiritual energy began to spin crazily, surging into the tablet. The glow on the Divine Realm tablet became more and more brilliant, illuminating the surroundings. The vortex formed a wall of auspicious light. On the cliff, Mo Xiaochuan, who had been sitting with his eyes closed, suddenly opened them. He stared down in horror as if trying to see through the river, but couldn't. Lady Ju Yi, are you sure there's no danger in the indeterminate river? Mo Xiaochuan, truly worried, asked again.
Ju Yi frowned slightly. In thousands of years, we've never heard of anyone encountering danger. But one must never sink below 500 meters. Otherwise, even a martial emperor expert would find it difficult to resist that powerful poison.
500 meters. Mo Xiaochuan looked down. His divine sense was heavily interfered with in the indeterminate river. He had looked 500 meters deep, but couldn't see Li Yunxiao's figure. But the indeterminate river was vast and boundless, so he didn't know if he had sunk down elsewhere. He couldn't help but feel a little frustrated. Big brother, don't worry, young Master Yun will be fine. That kid is too mysterious and unpredictable. You probably know his abilities better than I do. You should have more confidence. Mo Huayuan comforted him. But that kid... Mo Xiaochuan's face darkened. If there's any doubt about young Master Yun, you can go back to the Holy Realm by yourself. Mo Huayuan was stunned, then smiled bitterly. The respect his brother had for Li Yunxiao, which came from the depths of his soul and bones, made him feel completely bewildered. The Holy Realm. Ju Yi and Li Feiyu were both shocked. Li Feiyu said, "This lord, could he be from the Holy Realm?" Mo Huayuan said lightly. "He's not considered a person of the Holy Realm, just that he followed his master to cultivate in the Holy Realm." Li Feiyu asked, "His master is?" Mo Huayuan hesitated for a moment, then said, "My master's secular name is Yuan Gaohan." Li Feiyu was inwardly terrified. "Lord Yuan Gaohan, the one in charge of the spiritual division in the Holy Realm." Mo Huayuan nodded slightly. "This..." Li Feiyu and Jiu Yi were both utterly shocked. The people following Li Yunxiao. One was a disciple of a Holy Realm expert, the other a powerful martial emperor. Who on earth was this Li Yunxiao? Waves stirred in their hearts, making it difficult to calm down. Inside the Divine Realm. Tablet. Yuan Gaohan, who was cultivating quietly, suddenly opened his eyes and said in surprise,
What is this spiritual energy fluctuation? What mischief is Li Yunxiao up to now? He flew up, leaving a sentence behind for Gu Yuesheng. Take good care of the divine fire in this violet cauldron, and transformed into a beam of light flying into the distance. Gu Yuesheng hurriedly sat down properly before the violet cauldron, focusing intently on the golden light on the cauldron, afraid of any changes. At the same time, several people cultivating under Mount Meru also sensed something and flew over. The demon dragon had manifested coiling around Li Yunxiao, watching the spiritual energy surge into the space from all directions. It floated quietly in the air, watching this scene. "Li Yunxiao, are you repairing the Divine Realm tablet?" Yuan Gaohan was the first to see the scene before him. It was as if the sky had been torn apart after a cataclysm, and the floodwaters of chaos were pouring into the land. The surroundings were turning into a vast ocean. Normally, when refining and repairing 9th-tier profound armaments, a crucible was used. But to repair this holy artifact, he was directly channeling a sea of spiritual energy into it. This was the second time Li Yunxiao had done something like refining the heavens and earth, and the first time the Divine Realm tablet was still intact, so it was obviously not as strenuous as it was now. "Old Yuan helped me preside over this supreme purity spirit-gathering formation," Li Yunxiao shouted softly. The round golden formation began to spin in the air and descended towards Yuan Gaohan. Yuan Gaohan was shocked and didn't dare to be careless. He hurriedly channeled his soul power to receive the light of the formation, carefully manipulating it in front of him. It was this supreme purity spirit-gathering formation that was able to draw the sea of spiritual energy in here. Li Yunxiao extended a long finger and drew several strange symbols in the air. A cluster of red light flowed along his fingertip. Soon a phoenix silhouette was sketched out by him. With a flap of its wings in the high sky, the surrounding space began to change under Li Yunxiao's will, passing through thousands of miles. The fire phoenix cried out in the sky and swooped down to the earth, instantly igniting all the spiritual energy below, turning it into a sea of fire. The ancient domain boundary. Great formation appeared on the land, its crimson reflection illuminating the entire sky. Yuan Gaohan swallowed, uncontrollably excited, and kept muttering to himself, "The ancient domain boundary great formation, opening the primordial elements of earth, water, fire, and wind, to be able to see such a grand scene again. This life has not been in vain." Li Yunxiao's expression was calm as he changed the hand seals. He slowly raised his palm and a few specks of earth elemental starlight scattered from it. He casually slapped down and the space flickered and changed again, revealing a land of flowers and soil. The power of the earth domain. The power of the fire domain. The power of the wind domain. Under his control, the entire divine realm tablet began to tremble. The 3 domain powers in colors of red, yellow, and cyan faintly appeared in the sky, and the massive amount of spiritual energy that was surging in began to be madly absorbed by the 3 powers constantly growing stronger. The originally abundant spiritual energy was gone in an instant. Although it was crazily devouring the energy from the indeterminate river, it still felt like it wasn't enough. Yuan Gaohan's expression changed drastically. The Supreme Purity Spirit Gathering formation he was presiding over under this rate of extraction actually felt like it was on the verge of collapse. He gritted his teeth and, disregarding his own safety, continuously poured all his power into it. If this spirit gathering formation collapsed and the supply of spiritual energy was interrupted, then this attempt to reopen the 3 great domains would be a complete failure. He was an artificer first and the head of a division in the Holy Realm second. He could not allow this once-in-a-lifetime refining process to fail, or he would regret it for the rest of his life. "I have to hold on, even if I die," Yuan Gaohan roared. The starlight power on his body began to dissipate. In the entire Divine Realm tablet, the wind blew, and clouds surged, revealing a scene full of danger. But under his efforts, the Supreme Purity Spirit Gathering formation began to stabilize. The spiritual energy was continuously absorbed by the 3 great domains, gradually expanding. Several hundred golden characters of the great divine realm. Art dissipated on the sky, turning into streams of light that flew in all directions. Each beam of light tore through space as if it were a rule being driven into the fabric of heaven and earth, which deeply shook Li Yunxiao. This power, these rules, are these the things that form the power of heaven and earth within the divine realm? Tablet. As each character in the sky transformed into a beam of light and shot off in all directions, his heart was shaken once again, as if he had comprehended a kind of primordial rule. His understanding and grasp of the divine realm tablet were constantly being elevated. The demon dragon was also terrified by the magnificent scene before it. Just repairing a damaged part already created such a spectacle. He couldn't imagine what kind of world-creating scene it was when the Divine Realm tablet was first forged. As time passed, the supply of spiritual energy began to slowly catch up with the rate of consumption. Yuan Gaohan let out a sigh of relief, but his entire body had become ethereal and indistinct, as if he could disappear at any moment. He wanted to call Gu Yuesheng to help support him for a while, but was still worried and took out a stellar stone, absorbing it while barely holding on. After the several hundred characters of the great divine realm, art disappeared, Li Yunxiao closed his eyes and began to sit cross-legged in the air. He placed his left hand on his dantian and formed a seal with his right, seeming to enter some wondrous state. And as the 3 great domains opened, the divine realm tablet also began to operate on its own. As long as there was enough spiritual energy, its repair was only a matter of time. After an unknown amount of time, Li Yunxiao suddenly opened his eyes, his aura completely different. He lowered his right hand and let out a soft breath. A beam of auspicious light rose from his body, spreading out from him as the center. The demon dragon, which had been sleeping motionlessly in the sky, also opened its eyes at this moment. It glanced at Li Yunxiao and sneered, "I thought you were comprehending some profound secret art. Turns out you only broke through to the martial emperor realm. How disappointing. Look at the spiritual energy in the sky. The poison of the river seal seems to be getting stronger." "Oh, just the martial emperor realm." Li Yunxiao snorted softly, feeling the surging power in his body. He had not only broken through to the martial emperor realm, but more importantly, his comprehension of the divine realm tablet had deepened. Especially those golden characters containing the power of the laws of heaven and earth, which had given him a qualitative leap. His figure flashed and he appeared beside Yuan Gaohan, supporting him with one hand.
Old Yuan, you've worked hard. He drew a symbol in the air with his finger, and Yuan Gaohan's weak body was enveloped in a halo of light and sent directly into a formation on Mount Meru. The formation was surrounded by stellar stones, the same essence Yuan Gaohan usually absorbed for cultivation. Yuan Gaohan, who was already hazy and close to fading away, was immediately infused with the power drawn from the stellar stones by the formation upon entering it. After settling everything, Li Yunxiao appeared in the sky in the next moment. With a wave of his hand, the 3 domain powers dissipated into the sky and sank into the great hall. A water ball slowly condensed in front of him, emitting wisps of spiritual energy. Li Yunxiao dipped his finger into it, and after a moment's sensation, his fingertip turned golden, covered with a layer of faint powder. Indeed, the poison has increased, but the spiritual energy is also more abundant. This thing has prevented the Mei family from producing a top expert for so many years, yet it also contains the power of appraisal. But its corrosive properties are indeed very strong. Even my initial stage, indestructible golden body is starting to corrode. He looked at his fingertip, blew gently, and the faint powder dissipated. He muttered, "The repair of the Divine Realm tablet seems to still need some time, but if it's filled with this kind of poison, I'm afraid it will be very difficult to completely remove it. Perhaps I should just wait until I return to Yanwu City and slowly repair it." After making his decision, Li Yunxiao waved his hand. The Supreme Purity Spirit Gathering formation immediately disappeared, and the flood-like spiritual liquid in the heavens and earth also began to slowly stop flowing in. He began to send a message to the people inside the Divine Realm tablet about the poisoned spiritual energy. Duan Yue, upon hearing it, cried out and started cursing. The others were also shocked and isolated their own spaces from the outside world, cultivating only through primeval stones. Boom! Suddenly, the entire space shook as if the Divine Realm tablet had collided with something outside. Li Yunxiao's pupils contracted and his figure flashed, appearing outside the Divine Realm tablet. The immense pressure from all sides was pushed away, but he suddenly found that the pressure was unbelievably great. With his martial emperor strength, he was unable to create a vacuum. In the end, he had no choice but to activate the indestructible golden body to prevent the river seal poison from entering his body. Whether he could have sons or daughters in the future was a small matter, but if he was poisoned and couldn't reach the peak of the martial path, he would truly have no tears left to cry. He was suddenly shocked by the scene before him. It turned out the Divine Realm tablet had been continuously sinking in the indeterminate river and had actually reached the riverbed, hitting a huge stele which caused the earlier tremor. And that stone stele was not an ordinary object. After the collision, it flashed with a faint light as if there was a restriction on it. Li Yunxiao recalled the Divine Realm tablet into his brow, and at the same time shot out a stream of astral wind that flowed close to his skin. The initial stage of the indestructible golden body could no longer resist the corrosion from the poison at the bottom of the river. The golden color had long since dimmed. With the astral wind, it became a little more bearable. Li Yunxiao walked forward and stared at the stone stele. On it were 4 large characters: Heku Tong Yu, River Bend, leads to the netherworld. What does this mean? Li Yunxiao walked around the stone stele looking at it for a long time but found nothing else unusual. He muttered, "River Bend leads to the netherworld. I don't know what it refers to, but this stone stele is a rare and precious material. It seems to be that legendary material." He pondered for a moment and made a decision. "I'll dig it up first and then see." Li Yunxiao acted on his thought. The pressure at the bottom of the river was nothing, but the poison's corrosiveness was too great. After just a few steps, he felt that the primeval astral wind was having trouble holding up. "Divine Bell of the Dynasty," Li Yunxiao shouted softly. The large bell appeared, emitting sound waves that pushed away the surrounding spiritual liquid, allowing him to Jiannan Lai advance a little. What's that?" His pupils contracted slightly. Near the Heikutong Yu stone stele, there was a faint glimmer of light. He focused his gaze and saw that it was a ring. Around it were some traces of a person having been there. Could it be? Li Yunxiao reached out his 5 fingers, turning golden.
He unleashed a grasping force, and the ring flew through the Yuan power and into his hand. It must be the relic of Mei Donger's parents. He looked around. Everything else had been corroded away. Whatever, I'll look at it later. First, I'll take this stele. It must be a good thing. He put away the ring and struggled to walk over. Without a word, he hugged the stone stele and tried to lift it with all his might. His current physical strength was enough to rival a martial sovereign. His 5 fingers closed, gripping the stone stele, and he pulled upwards with all his strength. Suddenly, a peerlessly tyrannical force erupted from the stone stele. A hazy light shot out from the riverbed and into Li Yunxiao's body, sending him flying. Several white halos flashed on Li Yunxiao's body. It was the light of the bright moon body. His entire body was forced back step by step by the immense pressure under the water. What happened? Li Yunxiao's heart trembled violently. The force just now came from the earth below, transmitted through the stone stele. Not only that, but it seemed to have triggered some powerful restriction. A terrifying vibrating force was coming from the entire earth beneath his feet. The stone stele at this moment seemed to have been activated. A feeling of trepidation actually rose in Li Yunxiao's heart. What on earth is under this stone stele? This heavy, decaying feeling as if it came from the land of death made one's heart turn cold. Even someone as strong as Li Yunxiao felt an inexplicable sense of panic causing his expression to change drastically. Not good. I have to retreat first. He suddenly realized something was wrong. That force was so powerful that he couldn't resist it. An indescribable danger seemed to be approaching, as if the gates of hell were opening. Li Yunxiao took a sharp breath, and the bright moon divine art flowed through his body. He released all his yuan qi, and even took out the northern sky cold iron sword, parting the water and desperately swimming upwards. The terrifying force below was like a slowly awakening lion making the entire river turbulent. At this moment, in a place an unknown number of tens of thousands of miles away, a dark green lake bubbled with a faint hazy blue aura. The surroundings of the lake were deathly silent, without even the sound of insects or birds, giving one a strange sense of peace. The aura in the air was oppressive and decaying. In the center of the lake, looking from afar, was a small black dot emitting a fluctuating aura. Someone was actually cultivating there. The person had green eyebrows and clear eyes, a handsome youth. At this moment, however, his brows were tightly furrowed, as if he felt an unusual sensation that made him extremely uncomfortable. What's wrong? This Nine Springs netherworld is where one of the 5 deadliest poisons in the world gathers flowing in from some scattered space. It seems something has happened on the other side of the river. After pondering for a moment, the youth frowned and muttered, "Perhaps I should tell Wei Chung about this. He once said this place is a place of solitude with only deadly poison and absolutely no other situations. It seems he doesn't know about this disturbance either." Even if there is a disturbance, it's probably a situation in some unknown space. As long as it doesn't affect my heavenly, earthly, solitary poison from reaching great accomplishment, I don't need to bother with it. After assessing the situation, the youth continued to cultivate. A beam of light rose from his body, revealing a 5-colored poisonous light that spread across the lake's surface, making one shiver without feeling cold. In the indeterminate river, Li Yunxiao exerted his full strength to rush upwards. After the time it took to drink a cup of tea, he finally felt the pressure decrease, and that terrifying sensation gradually receded. With lingering fear, he looked down. Far below it was as if some terrifying monster was stirring. The world is vast. It's truly not something we can fully understand. After sighing with emotion for a while, Li Yunxiao gradually surfaced. Young Master Yun. On the shore, everyone had been waiting for a long time. Seeing him emerge, they finally felt relieved. Mo Xiaochuan's pupils contracted slightly, and he said with pleasant surprise, "Young Master Yun, you were only down for a day and a night, yet you broke through a major realm. No wonder you were unwilling to come up." Only then did everyone notice that his cultivation had actually broken through to the martial emperor realm, and they were all startled. Li Feiyu's eyes were filled with doubt. He had always thought that Li Yunxiao was suppressing his cultivation. Although there was nothing unusual during his fight with Ju Yi, he didn't believe his opponent was only at the martial sovereign level. Now his brows were furrowed even tighter, still filled with suspicion. Li Yunxiao smiled. I had some gains. At this moment, Mei Donger had woken up looking as if she had lost her soul. She didn't even notice Li Yunxiao's return. Li Yunxiao sighed. Donger, I found a ring down below. It's very likely something your parents left behind.
He took out the ring. In his hand it flashed with a dim light, heavily corroded. It was clear that this item was an absolute treasure back then. Otherwise, it would have long since turned to dust. Ju Yi's face changed drastically, and she said in alarm, Young Master Yun, could it be that you dived to the bottom of the river? But that's absolutely impossible.
Hey. Li Yunxiao was vague, not confirming whether he had dived to the bottom, which made Ju Yi feel extremely frustrated. A relic! Mei Donger cried out softly, stepping forward and snatching it, examining it closely in her hand, extremely sorrowful. Li Feiyu said, Young Master Yun, I have a favor to ask. The cross-domain teleportation array in Fenggu City is currently under urgent repair. I hope this master can go and lend a hand. He was pointing at Mo Huayuan. After learning his identity, he had made such a request. However, Mo Huayuan's reply widened his eyes. A respectable 8th-tier artificer actually wanted to hear Li Yunxiao's opinion first. Li Yunxiao raised an eyebrow. What's the situation with the repair of the cross-domain teleportation array? Does Brother Li know the details? Li Feiyu smiled bitterly. The repair of the cross-domain teleportation array is extremely difficult. Almost all the artificers in Fenggu City have gone to assist. I never expected young Master Yun to have such a hidden master by his side. If this master is willing to help, it will surely be repaired soon. Since Mo Huayuan was Yuan Gaohan's disciple, his skill level would naturally not be low. This was also why Li Feiyu had his eyes on him. Don't worry, Li Yunxiao said. He turned and asked, Huayuan, can you go with me? Mo Huayuan quickly replied, If young Master Yun has a request, of course I will go. His humility made even Li Yunxiao feel a bit unaccustomed. He glanced at Mo Xiaochuan, who seemed to find it perfectly natural, as if it was how things should be. Li Yunxiao looked worriedly at Mei Donger. Zhou Yi quickly said, Just leave Mei Donger to me. This kind of thing takes time to heal from. All right then, I'll trouble Lady Zhu Yi. Li Yunxiao sighed as he looked at Mei Donger. Take care. After this farewell, it will be several years. The next time we meet, several springs and autumns may have passed. Mei Donger was startled. Saying goodbye to Li Yunxiao, she only stared at the ring in her hand, unsure when she would escape from her sorrow. Zhu Yi also sighed softly. However, she had recovered the key and resolved the worry in her heart. Fearing that Mei Donger might not be able to think straight, she specially ordered experts to protect her secretly. It wasn't that she was afraid Mei Donger would do something like commit suicide, but rather that after she died, Li Yunxiao would come looking for trouble. As for the death of Wang Da, she also began to secretly make arrangements, pushing the news that it was caused by Li Yunxiao, hoping to sever all ties with Mei Valley. Li Yunxiao naturally didn't care. After Li Yunxiao's group left Mei Valley, they followed Li Feiyu's lead to the teleportation array. They were both a little anxious, afraid of missing the time. Although Mei Valley's path was hard to find after leaving the valley, it was just a straight path north. After flying for about the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, they saw several black dots flying rapidly towards them. There were more than 10 people in total, and all of them were martial sovereign experts, and all were familiar faces. Everyone, what is the meaning of this? Li Yunxiao saw these 10+ people surrounding his group. Recognizing them all from the trade fair, he immediately understood, but still asked, Could it be that we were gone for just a short while and you all missed us? Oh, we did miss you. Where is your master? You? Humph. It was Bai Tu. He didn't see the gourd puppet and his brows furrowed. Is it still in Mei Valley? Another martial sovereign said, Why waste words on them? Let's just capture them all and ask. He sent 2 people to continue watching Mei Valley to prevent that young Master Yun from slipping through the net. That's right. This Li Feiyu of the Tower of Myriad Treasures must have quite a few treasures on him. Another martial sovereign revealed a greedy expression. Li Feiyu remained silent, then said kindly, Everyone, we are in a hurry to repair the teleportation array. Please make way and don't bring trouble upon yourselves. Repairing the teleportation array has nothing to do with us. Leave all your treasures and you can go, Baitu said coldly. Otherwise, I'll have to see for myself if the legendary 4 prodigies of the northern region are as formidable as they say. Formidable my ass. Without the Tower of Myriad Treasures backing him, this kid is nothing, Liu Wen said with disdain. They're really courting death, Li Feiyu thought to himself. They haven't even realized there's a martial emperor expert among us. Even if they all attacked together, they wouldn't stand a chance. He sighed. You all know I'm from the Tower of Myriad Treasures, yet you still dare to attack me. He still held a sliver of hope that these people would know when to back down. Did you not hear what I just said? Without the Tower of Myriad Treasures, you're nothing but a pile of shit. What are you pretending for in front of us? Liu Feng seemed to particularly dislike him and spat on the ground. Ha ha! Li Yunxiao laughed heartily. Brother Li, you're so strange sometimes. You're clearly being good to them, yet they insist on insulting you. It's just that people like you are not worth saving. His eyes turned cold as he said, Xiaochuan, make it quick. 10 breaths. Mo Xiaochuan grinned. Without using any martial techniques, he simply drew a line of light in the air with his fingertip. The brilliant light instantly transformed into more than 10 streams of sword qi shooting out with the force of a thunderbolt. Before anyone could understand what was happening, the entire group was sliced to pieces, deader than dead. Li Yunxiao waved his hand and collected more than 10 storage rings, saying, No thanks. Li Feiyu felt a chill run down his spine. Although he had killed many people, they were all minor characters with strength far inferior to his. To see over 10 martial sovereign-level existences cut down like cabbages in an instant was a visual shock that was hard to accept, but the gap between a martial sovereign and a martial emperor was just that vast. Li Feiyu said with some dejection, Let's go, Li Yunxiao. Mo Xiaochuan, Mo Huayuan, Xiao Xuanzi, and Li Feiyu. The 5 of them transformed into a stream of light and flew towards the core area of Fengwu City. The teleportation array was located outside the city, heavily guarded by powerful martial artists. Who goes there? Stop immediately, or don't blame us for being impolite, a martial emperor shouted. In the next second, his face changed drastically, and he said in alarm, Not good. There are masters inside. Everyone don't panic. I am Li Feiyu of the Tower of Myriad Treasures. I have specially invited a master artificer to assist in repairing the teleportation array. Quickly call out your person in charge. The group standing high in the sky immediately caused a panic. The guards were about to go in and report when they heard Yang Ping's loud laughter. Ha 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 ha! I wonder where Sir Li invited this grand artificer from. This one has already found all the master artificers. Could it be your new? The city guards heard Yang Ping's voice and immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Someone was there to handle it. Yang Ping's gaze swept over the group. When he looked at Mo Xiaochuan and Mo Huayuan, his pupils suddenly contracted and his heart trembled violently. Both of these men gave him a strong sense of being superiors and a powerful energy fluctuation, and they were 2 completely different types of energy. Mo Huayuan had the aura of an artificer, which he was very familiar with. As for Mo Xiaochuan, he said in fear, This lord is... Li Feiyu said, These 2 are friends of young Master Yun. He pointed at Mo Huayuan. This lord is the disciple of Lord Yuan Gaohan, the head of the spiritual division in the Holy Realm, Master Mo Huayuan. As for the other one, he glanced at Mo Xiaochuan wanting to introduce him, but realized he didn't know his identity either, only that he was Mo Huayuan's elder brother. He could only say awkwardly, Lord Yang, let's not waste any more time. Quickly take this master to the array. The disciple of the head of the spiritual division of the Holy Realm. This title was truly impressive, causing Yang Ping to be terrified. Cold sweat dripped down his back, and he didn't dare to ask any more questions, hurriedly leading the way. The group passed through several winding corridors and arrived at a spacious open area. Many people were bustling about, each doing their own task.
In the very center was the massive teleportation array under repair, which seemed to be more than half done. Li Yunxiao asked, "Lord Yang, what is the current situation?" Yang Ping was stunned, a look of displeasure on his face. "You're just a servant, and you dare to speak. You have no sense of propriety." But thinking that he couldn't afford to offend these people, he could only endure his discomfort and say, "There are still some key core areas that we can't figure out, but with Master Mo here it will naturally be no problem." Mo Huayuan frowned. "I have never personally constructed a cross-domain teleportation array. Let me take a look. I hope I can be of assistance." Yang Ping laughed. "Master Mo, you are being too modest. If even you can't repair it, would we have to go to the Holy Realm or the Sea of Soul Formation to invite someone?" Mo Xiaochuan smiled meaninglessly. "No need to worry. With young Master Yun here, if you don't understand something, you can ask him for guidance." Everyone felt dizzy upon hearing this. If he had said, "ask for advice," perhaps they could have accepted it, but the two words, "ask for guidance," were a bit too serious. What made everyone roll their eyes even more was that Mo Huayuan actually nodded calmly and said, "That's right. Young Master Yun's skill in the Tao of Arts is far superior to mine. Let me take a look first, but if I can't solve it, I'm afraid I'll have to trouble young Master Yun to act." Cold sweat dripped from Yang Ping's forehead. He said awkwardly, "That young Master Yun is also a master artificer. Why haven't I seen you?" Li Feiyu smiled and explained, "This is young Master Yun. The one at the trade fair yesterday was just a puppet of his." Yang Ping was even more horrified, his heart trembling violently. He secretly felt lucky that he hadn't shown any impatience just now, otherwise he might have unintentionally offended this person. Li Yunxiao turned his head and smiled. "My apologies for yesterday. I couldn't meet you in my true form. I hope Lord Yang will forgive me." Yang Ping said with a bitter smile, "Not at all, not at all. That young Master Yun is willing to come and assist in repairing the teleportation array. Yang Ping is already extremely grateful." These words were only said to a powerful person. If it were an ordinary person, after finding out they had been deceived, they would have long since given the other party a lesson with their fists that they would never forget. Yang Ping entered the array and began to communicate with the artificers who were repairing it. From time to time, his gaze would pass over them. Soon, a bearded old man led a group of people over, staring at Mo Huayuan. "Greetings, Master Mo." The people behind him also bowed. Mo Huayuan said, "You also have the aura of an 8th tier. We are of the same rank, no need for such ceremony." The artificer said, "I am merely a rogue cultivator. How can I compare to a disciple of Master Yuan? I was once fortunate enough to listen to Master Yuan's lecture in the Holy Realm and truly benefited greatly." Mo Huayuan's reply widened his eyes. A respectable 8th-tier artificer actually wanted to hear Li Yunxiao's opinion first. Li Yunxiao raised an eyebrow. Repairing the great array is more important. He was afraid the two would talk endlessly, delaying his journey. The 8th-tier artificer's face showed extreme displeasure. As an 8th-tier artificer, his status was extremely noble. No one dared to interrupt him when he was speaking. He was about to get angry when Mo Huayuan pulled him back and whispered, "Let's talk business first. Talk business first. Oh, is that kid Master Mo's Jr. spoiling a child too much is not good." As the two walked away, the artificer's angry voice could still be heard. Mo Xiaochuan's face turned purple with rage, and he was about to go forward and lose his temper, but Li Yunxiao glared at him fiercely, and he finally retreated. Yang Ping made a gesture of invitation. "Young Master Yun, everyone please come to the main hall to rest. It's too noisy here after all." He had roughly figured out that this group was led by Li Yunxiao, and his interest in Li Yunxiao's identity grew even stronger. On the way, he secretly gestured to Li Feiyu, asking him to reveal Li Yunxiao's identity, but Li Feiyu just smiled bitterly and shook his head. Yang Ping was extremely displeased and made a gesture of disbelief. Li Feiyu, distressed, made a gesture that he really didn't know. Yang Ping immediately glared fiercely, leaving Li Feiyu completely exasperated. "Where might young Master Yun be heading?" Yang Ping asked enthusiastically, thinking to himself,
Since you Li Feiyu won't tell me, I'll ask him myself. Li Yunxiao smiled. The same way as Brother Li. Yang Ping shot Li Feiyu a look that said, "You're going the same way, yet you lied to me, and said you didn't know Li Feiyu was truly shocked this time."
Young Master Yun is also going to Songyue Yang City, Li Yunxiao said. I heard the Merchants League's biannual assembly will be held in a few days. We're going to check it out. Could it be that Brother Li doesn't welcome us? Then I can go by myself. I won't tell anyone I know Brother Li to avoid embarrassing you. Li Feiyu smiled bitterly. Young Master Yun, please don't be sarcastic. Of course I welcome you. But is young Master Yun really just going to watch, or do you have other plans? He emphasized the last few words, his gaze turning sharp. It seems Brother Li is afraid I have some other intentions. I am indeed going to Songyue Yang City with a purpose, but it has nothing to do with the Tower of Myriad Treasures. Besides, I have a few friends in the Tower of Myriad Treasures, Li Yunxiao said with a faint smile. That's good, Li Feiyu said gravely. I'm just afraid of a conflict arising with young Master Yun. But if a conflict truly arises, I will not show mercy. He shed his elegant demeanor from before suddenly becoming assertive, as if he wasn't afraid of the martial emperor Mo Xiaochuan at all. Ha ha! You two are both young talents. Why draw swords against each other? Everyone be happy. With Master Mo's help, the teleportation array should be repaired soon. The next time we gather in Fengwu City, I wonder what year and month it will be, Yang Ping said with emotion. I toast you two. I'm afraid the next time we meet, you two will be at the peak of the martial path, not on the same level as me. Li Yunxiao smiled. Lord Yang is too serious. The three of them drank fine wine and chatted. Li Yunxiao's knowledge shocked both of them. It was not the knowledge a teenager should have. They soon had a pleasant conversation. After a while, they saw Mo Huayuan and the 8th-tier artificer walking in together. Yang Ping was overjoyed. What is it repaired already? The 8th-tier artificer shook his head. With Master Mo's help, we've made great progress, but we're still stuck at a checkpoint. Master Mo said he wanted to come and ask for guidance from this young Master Yun. He deliberately dragged out the last two words to show his dissatisfaction and contempt. If Mo Huayuan hadn't shown truly powerful abilities, he would have thought these people were all frauds. Mo Xiaochuan heard the sarcasm in his words and sneered. A frog in a well cannot know the vastness of the sky and sea. A frog in a well, ha ha. The 8th-tier artificer laughed loudly. When I was cultivating in the Holy Realm and the Sea of Soul formation, you two brats weren't even born yet, and you dare to call me a frog in a well. Although he could see that Mo Xiaochuan was extraordinary to artificers like them, unless it was an artificer stronger than themselves, even if you were a martial emperor, he wouldn't care about you. Li Yunxiao naturally knew the temperament of these artificers, and ignored him, only saying in surprise, With your strength, Huayuan, there shouldn't be a problem, right? Mo. Huayuan's face was grave. Young Master Yun, not only is the array disk damaged, but the spatial passage also seems to be severely damaged. Even if we repair the array disk, it's not certain we can pass through smoothly. The risk is great. Li Yunxiao was surprised. The passage is damaged. If it was just a dispute over the teleportation order, it would at most only destroy the array disk. Could it be? Li Feiyu was shocked. Young Master Yun means someone intentionally destroyed the passage. That's highly possible, but I don't know the extent of the damage. Let's go take a look. Li Yunxiao also put on a worried expression. If that passage was completely ruined, it would be troublesome. Take a look. Can you even gauge the scope of the damage? The 8th-tier artificer said with a strange expression, rolling his eyes. Li Yunxiao said lightly, I can't. I can only repair all the damage. Ah. The 8th-tier artificer's jaw dropped. Mo Huayuan was also shaken. Repairing a spatial passage was far more difficult than repairing an array disk. Moreover, the biggest hidden danger was the risk of being swept into a turbulent spatial flow at any time. Although Li Yunxiao was extremely lucky and could barely surpass him,
He didn't think he had the strength to repair the passage, so he kindly reminded him, "The passage behind the array disk is almost completely obscured and cannot be seen. The danger is very great." Mo Xiaochuan shot a disdainful glance at the 8th-tier artificer and sneered, "Open your eyes and watch carefully, frog in a well." Then he glared at Mo Huayuan. "And your vision is too low. You will never be able to reach the peak." Although he didn't understand the Tao of arts, the only person in the world who could defeat the grand artificer of the demon race was his master. If even he couldn't do it, then that teleportation array could be said to be truly done for. Mo Huayuan seemed to want to say something more. His lips moved, but in the end he held it in. The 8th-tier artificer, however, said angrily, "Master Mo, let's just wait and watch their good show." Li Feiyu also felt uncertain. Could Li Yunxiao's strength be even above the 8th tier? This thought made him even more terrified, and he hurried to follow. The people around the teleportation array had already stopped working and were all discussing among themselves. Seeing everyone walk over, they hurriedly stopped their chatter and showed respectful expressions. It was clear that the strength Mo Huayuan had displayed had earned everyone's respect. Li Yunxiao walked directly into the formation, bent down, and placed his hand on the array's eye, sensing the misty, unknowable void behind it. His divine sense instantly spread out for over 10,000 miles, but he couldn't sense any connecting passage. To be damaged so thoroughly. This is no ordinary accident. Li Feiyu's face changed drastically, a hint of anger in his eyes. "I felt something was strange. So, there really is a problem. Young Master Yun, can it be repaired?" He was becoming a little impatient. Li Yunxiao was the same, saying in a deep voice, "I'll try, but I have to enter that void to find the way." Mo Xiaochuan was shocked. "Entering the void is extremely dangerous. Let me do it." Li Yunxiao shook his head. "You don't know how. Besides, the risk is not as serious as you think. I have my ways." He pressed his hand on the array's eye, and a powerful stream of soul power flowed from his hand into the formation. He himself sat down cross-legged, paying no attention to the outside world. Mo Huayuan's pupils contracted, an inexplicable emotion rising in his heart. In that instant, it seemed he had realized something. Mo Xiaochuan said gravely, "Lord Yang, this place will temporarily become a forbidden area. No one is allowed to approach, or they will be killed without mercy." Yang Ping's heart trembled. He quickly said, "Of course." He began to hurriedly disperse the crowd. Some martial artists were easy to deal with, but many artificers were unwilling. The 8th-tier Grand Artificer said angrily, "Didn't he say he wanted to enter the void passage to find the way? Why is he still sitting here? Didn't you say you wanted me to watch carefully?" "What's going on now?" Mo Xiaochuan pointed at him. "The rest of you leave. You can stay. Today I'll let you watch carefully so you'll know what not knowing the vastness of the sky and sea means." The 8th-tier artificer snorted coldly. "Today I'll see how he makes a fool of himself." Mo Huayuan said gravely, "Big brother, what technique is young Master Yun performing? Can you explain?" Mo Xiaochuan shook his head. "I don't know either, but your expression seems a little off." Mo Huayuan said, "This technique is very similar to a divine ability of my master." Mo Xiaochuan smiled bitterly and thought to himself, "Your master himself is inside my master's magic weapon." But he couldn't say these words out loud, only saying, "Huayuan. Although I don't understand the Tao of arts, all laws in the world are interconnected. Although you have achieved a certain level of success now, you must avoid arrogance. Know that taking the martial path as an example, stepping into the martial emperor realm is only just the beginning." Mo Huayuan's heart trembled, and he quickly said, "I will heed Big Brother's teachings." The 8th-tier artificer also fell silent, seeming to agree with Mo Xiaochuan's words this time. Everyone sat in a circle around Li Yunxiao, waiting quietly with no other opinions. Yang Ping ordered a large number of experts to surround the area. Not even a mosquito could fly in. What Li Yunxiao was performing was the starlight soul body condensing a stream of soul power outside his body to enter the void. That soul holding the divine realm tablet passed through the endless darkness.
In the void there was only endless darkness, with no visible boundary. Li Yunxiao continued forward like this for an unknown amount of time. Suddenly a large area of spatial turbulence with inconsistent rules appeared chaotically ahead. So the break is here. Who caused this to have it drift so far away? Li Yunxiao muttered. It seems I'll have to spend some time. He stood on the Divine Realm tablet and was about to start repairs when suddenly an extremely sharp beam of light slashed towards him. Li Yunxiao was startled and quickly leaned to the side to dodge his eyes sweeping across the void as he shouted, "Who is it hiding in this void space? Did you intentionally destroy this passage? Tisk, tisk, how clever! But not as clever as my young master." 7 figures slowly appeared in the void. One of them sighed with some emotion. When the young master told the 7 of us to guard this place to prevent anyone from repairing the passage, I was very disdainful, thinking it was a needless precaution. Now it seems it was indeed necessary. I can't help but admire my young master's intelligence. Li Yunxiao's gaze swept over the 7 people and he sneered. I think your young master is truly clumsy to the extreme. Otherwise, he wouldn't have sent the 7 of you here to die. Hilarious. Looking at your aura, you're merely a 3rd-tier artificer. You want to kill the 7 of us? The leader found it utterly comical. Another person said, Don't waste words on him. These artificers are all sick in the head, arrogant, and self-important. I've suffered enough from them. Let me torture this one to death to vent my anger. Staying in the void for so long has been boring as hell. Now that there's finally some fun, how can I let you have it all to yourself? Let's all attack together. Another person shouted, as if seeing a piece of meat, and they began to divvy up the spoils. Li Yunxiao wasn't in a hurry and coldly watched their show. Among the 7, apart from one with a martial sovereign cultivation, the rest were only at the martial emperor level. I'm very curious, who is this young master you speak of? One of them snorted coldly. You're about to die, what's the use in knowing so much? Li Yunxiao smiled. Can't you tell a dying man? Can't you be less cruel? No, the man sneered. An ant should have the tragic awareness of an ant. The martial sovereign said softly, Stop arguing. It's just an ant. A single move will be enough to kill him without even getting stuck in my teeth. If you're not going to do it, I will. Just leave some fun for us. Don't. The other 6 said, almost in unison, rushing forward. Li Yunxiao said, Since I can't get anything out of you, then farewell forever. A beam of light flashed in his hand, and he pointed down. The Divine Realm. Tablet immediately emitted a dazzling halo and flew forward. From within the halo, 3 figures flew out. Li Yunxiao smiled. It's been a long time since I let you out for some fresh air. You can stretch your bones a bit. The 3 stood in a row. It was Duan Yue Julin and the Xuanlei Jingyun beast. The aura emanating from them made the other 6 slightly startled. What's going on? Where did these 2 people and 1 beast come from? Not good. They're all peak martial emperors. Li Yunxiao said. Try to leave one alive. I have questions. Don't worry. As long as that martial sovereign doesn't interfere, these guys are nothing. Duan Yue said with great bravado, laughing loudly. Old Yue, how many are you taking? Yue Julin said faintly. They're just a bunch of rabble, doesn't matter. The 2 of them had been in the Divine Realm tablet for too long and had long since broken through to peak martial emperor. Adding the Xuanlei Jingyun beast, a total of 3 peak martial emperor experts made the 6 of them terrified. With me here, how dare you act so presumptuously? The martial sovereign was also greatly shaken, but luckily they were only at the martial emperor level, still within his range of control. Hey, your opponent is over here. Li Yunxiao's voice, though gentle, was like a life-reaping talisman in his ears. In the next moment, the martial sovereign expert saw a puppet emitting the aura of a peak. Martial sovereign appear before him. His heart immediately sank into a valley of ice. With Li Yunxiao's light command, the gourd puppet and Duan Yue's group surged forward with soaring spirits. The 7 opponents fell into despair, and it became a completely one-sided slaughter. In just a few breaths, 3 of the 7 were dead, and 4 were severely injured. The martial sovereign was also dragged before him by the gourd puppet. Duan Yue shouted that it was no fun, the opponents were too simple.
He took Yue Julin and the Xuanlei Jing Yun beast back into the Divine Realm tablet. All right, everyone. Can you tell me now who the young master you spoke of is? The martial sovereign's meridians were all shattered, his entire body almost paralyzed. He groaned, "Kill me. The young master will definitely avenge me." Li Yunxiao shook his head and sighed. "When I'm interrogating, I hate tough bones the most. Besides, your tough bones are just an act." Li Yunxiao pointed a finger and 2 sword beams shot out. Amidst Can's screams, the martial sovereign's 2 arms fell off flying into the endless darkness. The other 3 who weren't dead turned pale. They weren't afraid of death. Anyone who could reach this step on the martial path would look down on life and death. But to die in humiliation was something they found hard to accept. "Kill us! If you are also a martial artist, then please live up to the dignity of a martial artist," Li Yunxiao sneered. "The dignity of a martial artist. Then please first fulfill the responsibility of a defeated foe." "The responsibility of a defeated foe?" Everyone was confused. Frowning, Li Yunxiao said, "That's right, the responsibility of a defeated foe. Tell me everything I want to know. Otherwise, don't talk to me about any dignity of a martial artist." The 4 of them trembled. The martial sovereign said in fear, "No, we can't say the young master won't let us go. It's fine if we die ourselves, but don't involve our families." Life and death are both difficult choices." Li Yunxiao sighed. "Then I can only search your souls." The 4 of them trembled violently. When they looked up in fear at Li Yunxiao, they only saw a pair of blood-red crescent moon eyes. At the teleportation array repair site, everyone was getting a little impatient. The 8th tier Grand Artificer frowned. Is he really repairing the array? He hasn't moved at all. He knows the spatial passage is in the void, so what's the use of sitting here? It's all just an act. His words were the inner thoughts of everyone except for Mo Xiaochuan's group. Mo Xiaochuan said coldly, "Shut up." This kind of blame and doubt, if it fell on him, he would just laugh it off. But if it was aimed at his master, he absolutely could not tolerate it. Mo Xiaochuan was afraid that he really wouldn't be able to hold back and would kill this person with a single palm strike. "Oh, besides cursing people, what other skills do you have? If you want me to shut up, then show me some real ability." The 8th tier artificer couldn't take it anymore and said angrily, "I was in charge of repairing this array, and it was almost done. You all just arrived. Not only did you not help, but you're also acting mysterious here. It's truly hateful. Almost done. If you really had the ability to finish it, would we be sitting here bored?" Mo Xiaochuan said coldly. "If you don't have the ability, then just sit quietly and wait." "That's enough. I've had enough. Even a martial emperor has no right to shout at me. I've seen plenty of martial emperors." The 8th tier artificer stood up and pointed at Li Yunxiao. "If this young master Yun of yours can repair this teleportation array, I'll kneel and kowtow to him as my master. If he can't have him kneel and kowtow to me as his master, do you dare to bet?" Mo Xiaochuan frowned. "Although I dare to bet I can't make decisions for young Master Yun. How about this? If young Master Yun can't repair it, I'll kneel and kowtow to you. Is that all right? If he repairs it, you just have to kowtow a few times. As for being his master, forget it. I don't think he'll accept you as a disciple." "You—" The 8th tier artificer was so angry he was speechless. Good. You're telling me to kneel." Although he had seen many martial emperors, he had never seen a martial emperor kneel to him. Mo Xiaochuan smiled. "Likewise, I've never seen an 8th tier artificer kneel before me. It should be very satisfying." The bet between the 2 of them immediately made everyone around dizzy. This was no ordinary bet. Whether it was an 8th tier artificer kneeling or a martial emperor kneeling, it was a major event enough to shock the entire city. Everyone was sweating profusely. Mo Huayuan was also startled. "Big brother, how can you be so rash?" Although he knew how formidable Li Yunxiao was, he didn't have such blind faith. Mo Xiaochuan smiled. "Don't worry, this fool will definitely have to kowtow.
It's just that I suddenly have a malicious thought. If I could see young Master Yun fail, I think it would be worth kowtowing a few times. In Mo Xiaochuan's impression, he had never seen Li Yunxiao fail. He had always thought that no one under the heavens could defeat his master, whether in the martial path or the Tao of arts. That was why he was so shocked when the results of the Holy Realm ranking battle came out with Li Yunxiao in third place. He really wanted to know what kind of characters Ao Changkong and Zhuo Qingfan were to be able to defeat the god in his mind. Mo Huayuan was speechless for a moment. His lips moved slightly as he secretly transmitted his voice. "Big brother, who on earth is this young Master Yun? Can't you even reveal it between us brothers?" Mo Xiaochuan sighed. "You'll know sooner or later. Don't be in such a hurry." Mo Huayuan was completely at a loss for words. He could only sigh and secretly pray that this Li Yunxiao wouldn't fail. Otherwise, to see his own brother kneel and kowtow to someone else, he couldn't accept that no matter what. The 8th-tier artificer was still exceptionally respectful towards Mo Huayuan. "Master Mo, please rest assured. For your sake, I'll just have your big brother apologize later. He doesn't need to kneel," Mo Huayuan said gratefully. "Then thank you." Suddenly, Li Yunxiao, who was sitting in the center of the array, slowly opened his eyes and smiled. "In that case, Xiao Chuan won't have to make you kneel either." "Young Master Yun." Mo Xiaochuan was the first to rush over. "How did it go?" Li Yunxiao smiled. "So that you wouldn't have to kowtow to someone, I had to risk my life to finish the repairs. Otherwise, if you kowtowed to someone, would my face have any light?" "Ah, what a disappointment." Mo Xiaochuan sighed, looking at his confident appearance. "I thought I could finally see you fail for once." His shameless, argumentative appearance immediately made everyone want to slap him a few times. The 8th-tier artificer, after a brief stupor, was shocked and kept shaking his head. "Impossible! I don't believe you! You're lying to me!" He hurriedly ran into the array and began to pour his soul power into it. Very quickly, his face changed drastically, and he fell into a complete stupor. Mo Huayuan was also extremely shocked. He nervously checked it once and found that it was indeed completely connected. He looked at Li Yunxiao in utter shock, a monstrous wave surging in his heart. Such powerful strength. Could he be a 9th-tier existence? Although Yang Ping and Li Feiyu were also shocked, they were more happy. Li Feiyu let out a sigh of relief and smiled. "Finally, we can leave this damn place," Yang Ping said. "A damn place? Could it be that Lord Yang's hospitality in Fengwu City was not to Sir Li's liking?" Li Feiyu knew he had misspoken and apologized. Yang Ping laughed loudly. "Sir Li, no need for ceremony. The Songyue Yang City Martial Arts Assembly will be held in 7 days. If you don't go, the Tower of Myriad Treasures' position might be in danger." Li Feiyu smiled. "Lord Yang is too serious. The foundation of the Tower of Myriad Treasures is not built by 1 or 2 people, nor can just anyone shake it. With me, it's not much more. Without me, it's not much less." Yang Ping said, "Since this teleportation array was repaired by young Master Yun, then naturally young Master Yun and Sir Li will use it first. Everyone, please." The 8th-tier artificer was still standing dazedly in the array, a bewildered look on his face. Although Mo Xiaochuan had won as a martial emperor, he naturally wouldn't be petty and was too lazy to make him fulfill the bet. It was only because that person had targeted Li Yunxiao that he got angry. "Huayuan, farewell then. I don't know when we'll meet again," Mo Xiaochuan said with some emotion. This cousin of his was closer to him than his own brother, yet they had to part ways so soon after meeting. "Big brother, I will probably stay in the Holy Realm to continue cultivating by Master's side. If you have time, you can come to the Holy Realm to find me any time." Mo Huayuan was also extremely reluctant. The 2 brothers embraced. Suddenly, a strange voice sounded in the sky, cackling weirdly. "Yang Ping, this teleportation array is repaired, yet you didn't inform us secretly, letting others use it first. It seems this lord truly have a high status in your eyes." Yang Ping's face showed a look of horror. A beam of light shot over from the distance, passing through layers of martial artists. No one had time to react. and the power of that beam of light was so strong that no one even dared to block it. The halo landed in the courtyard and expanded. It was a group of more than 9 martial artists, with 8 of them carrying a green-robed old man on a palanquin. The old man's robe was covered with skull patterns, and he was lazily seated. The 8 martial artists around the old man were all imperious. A young man on the left front shouted, "Yang Ping, my lord said that if it's repaired he should be informed first. You actually let others use it first. Do you even have my lord in your eyes?" Yang Ping was terrified. He hurriedly stepped forward and bowed. "Lord Gongsun, this array was just repaired by them. I let them use it first as a test to avoid any mistakes. If a problem occurs during void travel, it would be too dangerous." "Ah, so you had a reason for not taking my words to heart, is that right?" the old man said slowly. "Since it's repaired, then quickly tell them to scram. I am willing to be the test subject to avoid these lowly dregs accidentally losing their lives." Cold sweat broke out on Yang Ping's forehead. He said awkwardly, Lord Gongsun, this isn't quite appropriate." "Enough with your nonsense. My mind is made up. Tell them to scram." Gongsun John pointed a finger at Li Yunxiao's group. His eyes half closed as if those people weren't even worthy of him opening his eyes to look at. Under his aura, Yang Ping didn't dare to harbor any rebellious thoughts, and looked at Li Yunxiao as if asking for help. Li Yunxiao frowned. "When did the heavenly martial world produce such an idiot?" Mo Xiaochuan smiled. "Who says they're stupid? That's because when you're powerful, they're all very smart, knowing to act like your grandson. How can that be called an idiot? At most, they're just clowns." Their conversation fell on everyone's ears, and they all broke out in a sweat. Only they would dare to say such words. Yang Ping silently prayed in his heart. "Please don't cause a scene that destroys the teleportation array again. Then I'll truly have no tears left to cry." "You bastard! Do you know who my lord is? You truly deserve to die." "Argh!" The martial artist who had spoken turned purple with rage. Without a word, he unleashed a sword beam, man and sword becoming one, rushing forward with an overbearing sharp aura. Although he couldn't see through Mo Xiaochuan's cultivation, he could tell Li Yunxiao's first-tier martial emperor level at a glance. In the martial path, those of the same realm were close, and a large gap in strength would create a gulf. Since Mo Xiaochuan and Li Yunxiao were chatting so intimately, their strengths naturally wouldn't be too far apart. Mo Xiaochuan casually extended 2 fingers and caught the tip of the sword. With a light twist, the sword body broke into 7 or 8 pieces. Then he turned his fingers into a palm and pushed out. The palm force, carrying several broken sword pieces, formed an incomparably domineering palm force and struck down. Rumble. The broken sword pieces flew towards the man who had just attacked instantly, piercing 7 or 8 large holes in his body. He let out a canned scream, was sent flying, and spewed a cloud of blood like a broken doll. "You're also sent flying." He fell to the ground dead. Everything happened in an instant. The other 7 martial artists didn't even have time to react before they saw their companion, who had been so arrogant and domineering just moments before, turned into a corpse. They were all scared and took several steps back. Gongsun Zhan's face suddenly changed drastically. Only now did he turn his fiery gaze over. When he looked at Mo Xiaochuan, his pupils suddenly contracted, and he said gravely, "No wonder someone dares to ignore my authority. So there is a martial emperor in the group. Don't you know that even among 9th heaven martial emperors there is a world of difference?" Mo Xiaochuan smiled. "So you do know." Gongsun Zhan's aura gradually calmed down. He was no fool. In fact, anyone who could cultivate to the martial emperor realm was definitely not an idiot. He couldn't see the depth of his opponent at all, but he was certain that the fearless attitude was absolutely real. After advancing to martial emperor, because one could freely control the rules of heaven and earth, every move was filled with the power of rules, so it was difficult to see the depth of an opponent's level. One had to test it out. But if the difference was too great, and they fought the result. "State your name first. I don't fight with nameless people." Gongsun Zhan Wary didn't dare to act rashly, and wanted to pry some information from his opponent first. This was also normal etiquette between martial emperors.
Mo Xiaochuan sneered. Clown.
Gongsun Zhan's face turned pale with anger. Sitting on the palanquin, he looked extremely embarrassed. One of his subordinates had been killed. How could he easily retreat? But seeing the other's fearless and calm demeanor made his heart extremely uneasy. Besides, his real purpose was not to snatch the teleportation order, so there was no need to create a conflict with a martial emperor. After weighing the pros and cons, he said gravely, "This place is too small. If we fight, I'm afraid the newly repaired teleportation array will be damaged. Killing you is a matter of a minute. You think it would affect the teleportation array, you're overthinking it." Mo Xiaochuan impatiently cut him off. "Arrogant. You're courting death." Gongsun Zhan couldn't take it anymore. The other party had shown him no face and humiliated him like this. If he swallowed this, today's event would become a knot in his heart on his martial path. It was very likely his cultivation would stagnate from now on, and he might even develop an inner demon. The essence of the martial path was to advance without retreating. Who among those who could cultivate to martial emperor was an ordinary person? Gongsun Zhan also understood this point. After being repeatedly ridiculed by Mo Xiaochuan, he had reached a point where he had to act. His anger instantly subsided, and he became as calm as still water, as if he were two different people. The people around shivered. Before, it was like being next to an erupting volcano, afraid of being burned to ashes by the spewing lava at any moment. But now it was like being in an icy cellar where they could be frozen by the cold aura at any time. Li Yunxiao also smiled and praised, "Not bad. To be able to control his emotions so well, his cultivation is indeed not bad." He originally meant it as a compliment, but to Gongsun Zhan's ears it was extreme sarcasm. The calm state of his mind was suddenly stirred by a monstrous wave, a trace of anger appearing on his face. A cold light flashed in his hand, and sword chi crisscrossed, shooting forward. Sword seals the heavenly dome, breaks the firmament. This one sword strike contained the vastness of the heavens and the earth, giving one a feeling of open-mindedness and the grandeur of the world. Good sword. This clown really has some skill, Li Yunxiao said. Be careful to protect the array. Don't let the outside be destroyed again. After he said this, he, like everyone else, rushed to the side. The sword momentum of a martial emperor, even an initial stage. Indestructible golden body would instantly turn to dust. No wonder you're so blind, you do have some talent. Mo Xiaochuan's right foot stepped back, and a golden light spread out from under his foot, covering the entire teleportation array under the golden glow, afraid of it being damaged by the two's chi. Only then did he throw two punches in front of him. A gentle chi converged from all directions, with his punches clamping the sword body between them. The control of power was extremely exquisite, not letting a single aftershock spread out to avoid shaking and affecting the people nearby. Gongsun Zhan was shocked. This move alone showed that his opponent's control of power was far more exquisite than his own. But exquisite control alone was not enough. The key to victory was still absolute strength. He forcefully poured his Emperor Qi into the long sword, and in an instant it shot out streams of brilliant light, breaking through the Yuan Qi defense in Mo Xiaochuan's hands and pushing forward 3 feet, stabbing straight towards Mo Xiaochuan's heart. Mo Xiaochuan's expression was as calm as ever, his fist style magnificent as it struck the sword body, creating a piercing sound. He was pained that he couldn't move his feet. Otherwise, once he moved, the array would be easily shattered by the Emperor Qi, and they wouldn't have time to repair it again. Dang, dang, dang. The fist shadows danced around him like butterflies. Under this one punch, more than 30 streams of qi, layer upon layer, like a mountain overturning a sea, pressed down, each one stronger than the last. The immense pressure on Gongsun Zhan's long sword affected the sword's momentum, causing it to swerve and miss its target. The sword qi, undiminished, shot out from the tip of the sword, directly piercing through the void for 1,000 meters. The people around turned pale with fright. If anyone had been there just now, they would have been instantly killed. When immortals fight, mortals suffer. It was indeed true. Fighting me while trying to protect the array, arrogant. Gongsun Zhan's confidence soared after one sword strike. He swung his sword horizontally, and the sword light outside the sword's body condensed into a phantom, as if there was a sword spirit within it, giving people a bloodthirsty and merciless aura as it slashed down.
Mo Xiaochuan, with his right foot still in place, twisted his body halfway. His 2 fingers formed a sword seal and pointed at the opponent's sword shadow, shouting softly, "If I wasn't protecting the array, do you think you'd still be alive?" Bang! The finger force turned into a mirror, shattering the sword shadow. Gongsun Zhan's sword strike was so powerful it wanted to turn him to dust. Mo Xiaochuan finally showed a change in expression. Half of his power was poured into his right foot to protect the array, and his actions were restricted everywhere. This shameless bastard, clearly seeing the difference between us, doesn't know to retreat, and even wants to use the fact that I'm protecting the array to gain an advantage. In that case, you can stay here forever. A powerful sword qi suddenly erupted from Mo Xiaochuan's body. Just standing there, he seemed to have transformed into an indestructible divine weapon. This sword momentum alone made Gongsun Zhan's sword light stagnate, as if it had sensed something dangerous. The treasured sword suddenly let out a piercing cry, as if it were a warning. Not good. Gongsun Zhan was terrified. He wanted to retract his sword and flee. Only at this moment did he feel the terror of Mo Xiaochuan. It turned out that before he had only been warming up. Under that sword qi he felt a chill run through his entire body, and he lost all will to fight. "Want to leave? You should have left earlier." Mo Xiaochuan's icy voice rang out. He raised his arm high, and on his right arm a sword shape seemed to appear indistinct, emitting a dim light. Li Feiyu's pupils suddenly contracted. He stared in horror at Mo Xiaochuan's right arm. He couldn't tell if it was a real sword or just a sword shape, but the sword intent was extremely powerful, spreading throughout the entire courtyard, making everyone extremely terrified. Li Yunxiao was also slightly moved. His 2 eyes stared at that sword intent, a faint smile on his face as if he greatly appreciated it. "Hong Chen Ning Wang An Hao Yue." Mo Xiaochuan softly uttered the sword art. It was indeed the heavenly Yang tyrant body art of their Mo family. When he executed it, it was much more powerful than Li Yunxiao's. This was because he had practiced this sword strike countless times. Compared to Li Yunxiao, who had only practiced it a few times, the difference was truly a world apart. The sword light slashed down a sea of sword qi. All the martial artists within a few miles felt themselves submerged in this sea of swords, holding their breath in terror, not daring to make the slightest move, as if a single random movement would instantly turn them into mush, or not even mush. Stop, I was just..." Gongsun Zhan was completely terrified, trembling as he cried out. But his voice was immediately drowned in the sea of swords. Not only him, but the 7 martial artists behind him didn't even have time to scream before they vanished, as if they had never appeared in this world. A huge fissure was torn in the ground, starting from Mo Xiaochuan's right foot and extending for 1,000 meters. To waste brother's sword intent on this piece of trash who doesn't know what's good for him. Mo Xiaochuan sneered contemptuously, looking to the side at Li Yunxiao. "Young Master Yun, how was that sword strike just now?" His eyes were full of anticipation, as if seeking his master's praise. Li Feiyu and the others were already drenched in cold sweat, so shocked they forgot how to move. Their nerves were stretched so taut they couldn't calm down, and even their necks were difficult to move. Their throats were dry, unable to speak. "Big brother, you're so powerful." Mo Huayuan's face showed a look of joy as he praised sincerely. "I wonder what cultivation Big Brother has now. That sword strike was extremely powerful. By my estimation, it's at least a 3-star martial emperor." Hehehe. Mo Xiaochuan laughed smugly, his eyes never leaving Li Yunxiao, as if only his affirmation was a true affirmation. Li Yunxiao also smiled and said lightly, "Why use a butcher's knife to kill a chicken? You're too lazy." Only then did Mo Xiaochuan let out a sigh of relief, as if he was afraid his performance would displease his master. Li Yunxiao's words were not a criticism, which was already the best praise. As for calling him lazy, it meant that he could have fought and defeated the opponent, but he didn't dally and directly used his sword to annihilate them. Wasn't that because he was afraid of delaying everyone's time? "Ha ha!" Hearing his laughter, no one else could laugh. Their stiff bodies began to move a little. A 9th heaven martial emperor who had been so arrogant and boundless a few moments ago and had some fame in the northern region was turned to dust after just a brief appearance. Except for Li Yunxiao and himself, no one could laugh. "Let's go."
We've delayed enough time. There are only 7 days left. I'm afraid that little girl is already getting impatient.
Thinking of Dinglinger's anxious and restless look, Li Yunxiao couldn't help but laugh. A little girl, is it? Is it the lady of the house? Mo Xiaochuan's eyes lit up and he started to gossip. Li Yunxiao smiled. You'll know when we get there. You're very likely to meet an old acquaintance. Mo Xiaochuan's heart stirred and he said with great joy, Could it be? Li Yunxiao nodded and smiled. If he knows my whereabouts, he's very likely already in Songyue City. Let's go. He stepped into the array and Mo Xiaochuan followed closely behind. Li Feiyu, after recovering his senses, also calmly entered the array. Big brother, after we part ways, if fate allows, come find me in the Holy Realm, and we brothers will gather again. Mo Huayuan was reluctant to part, even feeling like he wanted to cry. Mo Xiaochuan laughed and scolded. Stop being so sentimental. You're an 8th-tier grand artificer admired by thousands. If you cry, I won't be able to bear it. Yang Ping hurriedly took out a large amount of primeval stones and piled them on the array. Welcome everyone to visit Fengwu City again next time. Li Yunxiao smiled, and with a flip of his hand, the large amount of primeval stones instantly turned to dust. The spiritual energy was instantly absorbed into the array. The entire array began to operate, and then the 3 of them felt a huge tearing force. Their bodies were no longer in Fengwu City. Feeling the various impact forces constantly rushing towards their bodies, even their spiritual senses was a necessary part of long-distance teleportation. Fortunately, the 3 of them were not ordinary people and didn't mind at all. Soon, a glimmer of light appeared in the pitch-black darkness ahead, and then it continued to expand. By the time it enveloped them, the 3 of them had already arrived outside the void. Vaguely voices could be heard. Someone else teleported here. Quick, see who it is. Today is the 13th day. I guess it's hopeless. Pull yourself together. Don't you see Captain Ren's face getting darker and darker? Don't cause any more trouble. The captain will definitely get scolded, but this isn't something we can decide. Maybe Lord Li Feiyu is enjoying himself with a bunch of beautiful girls right now. How can that be? What time is it now? Lord Li Feiyu would definitely know his priorities. Something must have happened. After the 3 of them appeared outside the void, they didn't feel dizzy and appeared steadily in a square. All around were martial artists in armor, their swords drawn, their expressions stern and tense. Everyone's face was cold. Oh, what's going on? Isn't this Songyue City? Li Yunxiao said strangely. How did a very romantic and peaceful city turn into a place where everyone was drawing their bows and swords? The voice that had cried out earlier shouted with joy. Lord! Lord Li Feiyu! It's Lord Li Feiyu! You're finally back! All the armed martial artists around suddenly became tense, but each one was overjoyed as if they had completed a mission. Lord Ren! Lord Ren! Lord Li Feiyu is back! The person from before hurriedly ran out and shouted. Li Yunxiao smiled playfully. Brother Li, thanks to you, so many people have come to welcome us. What an honor! Li Feiyu said awkwardly. Young Master Yun is making fun of me. These people must think I don't know my priorities not returning for such a major event. They must be very worried. He was a little angry and shouted, Who's in charge here to turn the teleportation point into this? Aren't you afraid of being ridiculed by the world? Songyue City had a total of 4 cross-domain teleportation arrays, and also 4 teleportation points. This place was surrounded by people from the Tower of Myriad Treasures, so it was likely the other 3 were no exception. Mo Xiaochuan sneered. Ridiculed? Why ridiculed? Such a grand display should make the people of the world tremble. Li Feiyu was drenched in cold sweat, his eyes almost spitting fire. Although the Tower of Myriad Treasures was the leader of the Merchants' League, to act like this would surely attract the attention of many people. Feiyu, you're finally back. You scared me to death. A loud voice came, and before a halo of light was even seen, an old man had already appeared in front of the 3. The old man in a brocade robe was so excited that he didn't seem to see Li Yunxiao and Mo Xiaochuan. He directly laughed and grabbed Li Feiyu's hand, laughing loudly. Ha ha! It's good that you're unharmed. I was so afraid something had happened to you, making us old folks worry to death. Quick, go back and let Vice Tower Lord Ren rest assured.
Li Feiyu shook off the old man's arm and said with a bitter smile,
Why did you make such a big fuss? Everyone is laughing at us.
Old Ren raised his head and puffed out his chest, saying matter-of-factly, Laughing who dares to laugh. Songyue Yang City is our domain. If anyone dares to laugh, just tell them to scram. Impressive, impressive. Li Yunxiao clapped and laughed. Li Feiyu was speechless for a moment, then hurriedly introduced, This is the 7th elder of my clan, Ren Guangran. These two are good friends I made on the road, young Master Yun and his friend. He didn't know Mo Xiaochuan's name, so he could only introduce him like this. If not for their help, I'm afraid I would still be trapped in Fengwu City. I really wouldn't have been able to participate in this assembly. Fengwu City. No wonder I sent so many masters to find you and couldn't find you. So you were in that remote area of the northern region. What on earth happened? Ren Guangran looked at the two of them, but his attention was only briefly focused. Only when his eyes fell on Mo Xiaochuan did he show a hint of surprise, but it was just surprise. Li Feiyu told him about the damaged teleportation array and said again, If not for young Master Yun and his friend, this time would have been really troublesome. Only then did Ren Guangran take a few more looks at Mo Xiaochuan and said, The disciple of Master Yuan Gaohan, the head of the spiritual division in the Holy Realm, is your younger brother, and you entered Fengwu City from Southern Fire City. Your younger brother must be Mo Hua Yuan, and you are Mo Xiaochuan. Mo Xiaochuan's body trembled slightly, and he said in surprise, The Tower of Myriad Treasures' intelligence is so comprehensive and clear. How terrifying. His words were an answer. Li Feiyu was surprised. Old Ren, you know them. Ren Guangran chuckled and shook his head. I don't. But a genius disciple of Master Yuan Gaohan in Southern Fire City is from the Mo family of Black Iron City. The whole world knows this, let alone the Tower of Myriad Treasures, which is extremely well informed. And that one is Mo Huayuan's elder brother. So, if it's not Mo Xiaochuan, who else could it be? Li Feiyu frowned. It seems Master Huayuan and Lord Xiaochuan have a great reputation. But why have I never heard of him? Ren Guangran said with a smile. That's because you're still young. The era that belonged to them has passed. The hottest names in the world right now are you, the four greats of the northern region. Back in the day, Mo Xiaochuan's fame even surpassed that of his younger brother because his master was that third-ranked titled martial emperor. Li Feiyu's body trembled violently, and he exclaimed in shock. The third martial emperor Gu Feiyang, titled Army Breaker. Li Yunxiao's pupils contracted slightly before returning to normal. No one noticed the momentary turmoil in his heart. Yes, back then Lord Gu Feiyang was unmatched like the midday sun. All of his disciples were also renowned throughout the world. What a pity. Ren Guangran sighed. Li Feiyu understood that the pity he spoke of referred to the fall of Gu Feiyang. His gaze toward Mo Xiaochuan became more respectful. He never imagined that the man before him had such a prestigious background. No wonder his strength was so formidable. However, if Mo Xiaochuan's status was so great, not only being a disciple of Gu Feiyang, but also a member of the Mo clan of Black Iron City, then what was the identity of Li Yunxiao, whom he protected and served like a follower? As he thought of this, his head began to ache, and a sense of dread washed over him as if he dared not think about it any further. Mo Xiaochuan laughed heartily. Ha ha, my venerable master's matter happened a long time ago. There's nothing to be pitied about. Nothing at all. Ren Guangran gave him a strange look, a flicker of contempt in his eyes. You seem to have taken it quite well. A wise man once said that time is the best medicine for all wounds. It's been so long I've seen through it all, ha ha. Mo Xiaochuan feigned an air of someone who had seen through the vicissitudes of life, which only earned him more scorn from Ren Guangran and Li Feiyu. After all, the 10 great martial emperors held an extremely high status in the minds of all martial artists. It's good that you've seen through it, Ren Guangran said coldly. Feiyu, let's go. He seemed unwilling to stay with Mo Xiaochuan any longer. As for Li Yunxiao, a mere one-star martial king, he had been completely ignored as if he wasn't even there. A thought stirred in Li Feiyu's mind, and a sharp light flashed in his eyes. He slowly opened his mouth and said, "Young Master Yun, why don't you come to my Myriad Treasures Tower for a visit? Allow me to fulfill my duties as a host." Li Yunxiao raised an eyebrow, noticing the change in Li Feiyu's expression. He remained composed and said, "There's no need. I have important matters to attend to. Let's part ways for now. Since we are all in the city, I'm sure we'll meet again soon enough." Li Feiyu insisted. "Songyue Yang City is too large. I'm afraid young Master Yun might get lost on his first visit. It would be better to let me guide you." Li Yunxiao's background was strange and mysterious, and Mo Xiaochuan's strength was not to be underestimated. Li Feiyu had no idea what their intentions were for coming to Songyue Yang City. An idea suddenly formed in his mind to keep these two under his control. If there were any unstable elements in Songyue Yang City, these two were definitely among them. Ren Guangran immediately understood Li Feiyu's intention and laughed loudly. "Ha ha ha, that's right. It would be best for the two of you to come with us to the Myriad Treasures Tower as guests. Afterward, our people can be responsible for escorting you. The city is very chaotic right now. It would be dangerous for you two to wander around." Mo Xiaochuan said, "Why do I get the feeling that following you two would be the real danger, young master? Let's go. Don't pay any mind to this lot." "Oh." Li Yunxiao nodded in agreement and turned to leave. Ren Guangran's voice turned cold. "Are you two refusing to give my Myriad Treasures Tower face? I have personally extended the invitation, and still you refuse." As soon as his words fell, the atmosphere suddenly grew tense. The surrounding martial artists seemed to realize something was wrong, and the situation became like drawn bows and unsheathed swords. Dark clouds seemed to gather in the sky. Ren Guangran was confident that once he had spoken, the two would have to submit. However, the result surprised him greatly. Li Yunxiao said, "You two seem to have too much free time on your hands, so much so that your balls must be aching." "Aren't you afraid they'll ache so much they shatter?" Such a shocking statement, spoken in front of the seventh elder, stunned all the members of the Myriad Treasures Tower. Then they drew their weapons in unison and advanced with coordinated steps, their momentum coalescing into a powerful, oppressive aura. They were clearly a terrifyingly well-trained team. Mo Xiaochuan glanced at the surroundings with contempt. "What can this bunch of trash do? Do you two want them to have their balls shattered along with yours?" Li Feiyu was inwardly horrified. In Fengwu City, Li Yunxiao and Mo Xiaochuan could act rampantly with their power. But this was Songyue Yang City, and the seventh elder's cultivation level absolutely suppressed the two of them. Yet they were still so arrogant. What on earth were they relying on? Ren Guangran cast a questioning look at Li Feiyu. Li Feiyu felt he was in a difficult position. If they really came to blows, heaven knew what kind of trouble it would cause. He already had the intention to back down and said with a laugh, "Ha ha! I was just making a kind offer. Since young Master Yun is unwilling, I naturally won't force you. But could young Master Yun tell me what business brings you to Songyue Yang City? After all, this is a sensitive time. I'm afraid you two might get caught up in trouble. Since you are both friends of mine, Li Feiyu would brave a mountain of daggers and a sea of flames to ensure your safety." He had turned a tense confrontation into a righteous and noble declaration, as if he were truly willing to risk everything for a friend. Li Yunxiao sneered inwardly, thinking that the four greats of the northern region were indeed not only powerful in cultivation, but also exceptionally cunning in their dealings. Li Yunxiao showed a look of great appreciation and said in an emotional, loud voice, "Thank you, Brother Li, for your consideration. I'm so moved I could cry. From now on, if I encounter any trouble in Songyue Yang City, I will directly report Brother Li's name. With Brother Li as my backer, I doubt anyone will dare to touch me." Mo Xiaochuan also chimed in with a grin. "That's great. I was worried about running into trouble or some expert when we came to Songyue Yang City. Now that we have the Myriad Treasures Tower as our backing, we can walk sideways through the city." "Ha ha!" Li Feiyu was instantly stunned. Ren Guangran's jaw dropped. He felt something was very wrong but didn't know what to say. Li Feiyu said awkwardly. Young Master Yun is joking. In Songyue Yang City, as long as you don't go looking for trouble, no one will provoke you. But if you actively cause trouble, this Li Feiyu... Li Yunxiao cut him off with a loud laugh. If someone actively provokes us, we'll just report Brother Li's name. Brother Li is so noble, young Master Yun will remember this. Since you two aren't so bored that your balls are aching, you must have matters to attend to as well. We won't disturb you any longer. Farewell for now. Since we're all in Songyue Yang City, we're bound to meet again soon. With one sentence, he had blocked Li Feiyu's attempt to retract his words, leaving the other party speechless. Li Feiyu gave a wry smile. I certainly hope so. Young Master Yun is a friend I find most worthy of a deep connection. Ren Guangran was inwardly shocked. Whether it was false sentiment or a genuine feeling for Li Feiyu to say such words was enough to prove that the other party was anything but simple. Li Yunxiao cupped his fists in farewell and turned to leave with Mo Xiaochuan. The surrounding martial artists with arrogant expressions moved to block their path. A sharp glint shot from Li Yunxiao's eyes. A powerful soul force suddenly emanated from him, and the martial artists in front of him all shuddered and involuntarily stepped back, parting to form a path. Trembling, they watched the two leave. Ren Guangran said, Feiyu, what is the background of that young Master Yun? He's just a martial king. Yet how can he make Mo Xiaochuan act so subserviently? You must know that any martial emperor realm expert is extremely proud. Even if you were much stronger than him, at most he would fear you or respect you. But I saw that he treats this young Master Yun like a servant to a master. That's not respect, it's reverence. To make a martial emperor expert show such reverence. Who on earth is he? Li Feiyu smiled bitterly. I don't know when such a figure appeared in the heavenly martial world. It seems I must have our intelligence network conduct a thorough investigation into this person's background. Ren Guangran said, Yes, I will give the order for that immediately. And while they are in Songyue Yang City, we can't let them run wild. We must find out their purpose and movements. I'll have Jihuo handle this. A thought stirred in Li Feiyu's heart. If Jihuo is handling it, then there will certainly be no problem. The people from the Myriad Treasures Tower quickly regrouped and, under the leadership of Ren Guangran and Li Feiyu, vanished from the street. After leaving the teleportation point, Li Yunxiao and Mo Xiaochuan walked onto the streets of Songyue Yang City. The avenues crisscrossed everywhere, revealing a scene of endless prosperity. This was the #1 commercial city in the world, Songyue Yang City. Although the city was vast, in its center stood 8 towering banners, each fluttering high. They represented the emblems of the 8 member councils of the Merchant Union flying proudly in the wind. To have one's own Chamber of Commerce's banner flying in that sky was the dream of every merchant. Young Master, I'd say this Songyue Yang City not only has many merchants, but there seem to be a lot of spies too. We've only taken a few steps and there are already more than 20 spies following us. Ha ha ha, it's a sensitive time after all. It's normal for the major chambers of commerce to be a little on edge. Look at these merchants, every one of them has skills. None of them are ordinary people. Should we find a way to shake them off? It might be inconvenient for us to find who we're looking for. Shake them off to where in this place everyone is a soldier. Songyue Yang City is probably the most fortified city in the world right now. Just ignore them. They are only carrying out their duties to earn a living. Li Yunxiao walked up to an old woman selling tea eggs and asked, Old lady, may I ask where the Tianyuan Chamber of Commerce's station is? The old woman, her face full of wrinkles and her body trembling as if she might fall at any moment, looked frightened and confused. What did you say? Old? My hearing isn't so good, old lady. All right, stop pretending, Li Yunxiao interrupted impatiently. A 3-star martial emperor. Did you think no one would recognize you just because you stuck an aura-concealing talisman on yourself? It's useless. An outstanding old woman like you is like a firefly in the night no matter where you go. Hurry up and tell me the way to the Tianyuan Chamber of Commerce. The old woman was stunned for a long moment before saying, How did you find out? Mo Xiaochuan chuckled. This whole street is filled with martial artists of considerable strength. How could an old woman with absolutely no cultivation appear here?
Besides, could a normal old woman eat that many tea eggs? Now hurry up, don't waste my young master's time. The old woman had a look of sudden realization. So that's how it was. She sized up the two of them, then pointed to the north. Go about 10 miles that way. The most imposing place you see will be the Tianyuan Chamber of Commerce's station. 10 miles? Mo Xiaochuan was shocked. Just how big is this city? The old woman grinned. From east to west, it spans over 100 miles. If you two don't want to walk, why not buy a compass chariot? Just set the destination and this chariot will naturally take you there. This kind of compass chariot is a specialty of Songyuyang City. She pointed to a shop across the street. Inside were many strangely shaped vehicles, and on the street quite a few people were riding in them. Li Yunxiao and Mo Xiaochuan found it very novel. Since there were still a few days before the assembly, they weren't in a hurry and called for a car. The two set the destination to the Tianyuan Trade Guild, and the car started moving automatically. The car seller frowned and muttered, Tianyuan Trade Guild. Their long-term business qualification is definitely going to be revoked this time. Who are these two, and what's their business? This information needs to be passed on. Similar incidents had been happening in Songyuyang City for the past few days. The entire city was a massive intelligence network with dozens, even hundreds of trade guilds all searching for this kind of information. You've been doing intelligence work for so long you've muddled your own head, Li Yunxiao said. Xiaochuan, what do you think of the Merchants' League? On the compass car. Li Yunxiao looked at the bustling streets outside and suddenly asked. Mo Xiaochuan frowned, not daring to answer rashly. After thinking for a moment, he said, Their wealth could rival a nation's a truly immense power. A sharp light flashed in Li Yunxiao's eyes. The combined power of the entire Merchants' League could even surpass the 7 superpowers, becoming an existence comparable to the Holy Realm and the Sea of Soul Formation. Mo Xiaochuan was shocked. He followed Li Yunxiao's gaze to the 8 flags in the city center and said in alarm, Young Master Yun, you mean that if one could enter the Merchants' League's board of directors and grasp the core of the league, they would become an existence that could contend with any great power in the world. Li Yunxiao narrowed his eyes. The Merchants' League appears fragmented on the surface, but almost all its power is in the hands of the 4 core alliances. And among these 4 core alliances, the Tower of Myriad Treasures and the 4 Extremes Gate are the most respected. These 2 factions control almost half of the Merchants' League's power. If these 2 factions were to join forces, it would be enough to unify the Merchants' League and become a true colossus. Mo Xiaochuan smiled. That's not something to worry about. The leaders of those 2 are like fire and water. I think it's absolutely impossible for them to cooperate. Li Yunxiao said, Under normal circumstances, they wouldn't. But if one day an external force presses down on them, the brothers will unite to resist the outsiders united against the external force. Young Master Yun, what do you mean? Mo Xiaochuan asked. Li Yunxiao smiled. For example, the several super sects in the northern region. Who doesn't covet the benefits of the Merchants' League or the Holy Realm, for instance? Do you think the Holy Realm is a good thing? If it weren't for everyone understanding this principle, once pressure is put on the Merchants' League, it would surely make them extremely united internally. That's why for so many years, the Merchants' League has been in a very comfortable development environment. No fool would touch them. Mo Xiaochuan said, So what do the various sects of the northern region want to do? Li Yunxiao said, Living in hardship is, let the Merchants' League wear itself out. When it's worn out enough, they can make a move to take it over. But this could also lead to a very bad result, which is that during the attrition, a true hegemon appears in the Merchants' League and unifies it. If that happens, it would be a catastrophic consequence for the northern region. He smiled faintly. But at least for now, we don't see this situation. The various sects of the northern region will not allow this to happen. There will surely be all sorts of actions behind the scenes to constantly break up the unity within the Merchants' League. But the Merchants' League is not a spent force either. However, this struggle has nothing to do with me. The 2 of them continued to talk about the continent's secrets and the changing political landscape in recent years, while enjoying the prosperity of Songyuyang City, feeling very comfortable. The compass car finally reached its destination but continued to move forward.
A few martial artists appeared in front, blocking the way. "Who goes there? Please get out of the car." Li Yunxiao showed the token of the Tianyuan Trade Guild. The eyes of those few martial artists lit up and they said in shock, "So it's a supreme-level member?" Li Yunxiao put away the token. "On my way here, why does every trade guild seem to have drawn a line on the ground, setting up a forbidden area and not allowing outsiders to enter? This big city has been divided into several large and small forbidden areas." The martial artist smiled bitterly. "Esteemed guest, you may not know, but this Merchants League assembly is more tense than any before. Not only have forbidden areas been drawn, but they have also set up great arrays to isolate and shield against detection. Anyone entering from the outside must undergo a strict inspection. However, you are a supreme-level member, the highest level, so you don't need to be inspected." But he hesitated for a moment. "However, you cannot enter at this time." Li Yunxiao frowned slightly. "Why, I want to see your Miss Ding," the martial artist said with difficulty. "Just now the young master brought a group of people in and gave strict orders that without his command no one is allowed to enter." "Young master," Li Yunxiao frowned. "The young master you speak of is Ding Linger's younger brother, Ding Peng." The martial artist said, "It is indeed young master Ding Peng. We dare not disobey the young master's orders. Please wait a moment. It probably won't be long." Li Yunxiao asked, "Then is Ding Linger inside?" The martial artist said, "Miss Ding is also inside. They should be discussing something important." Li Yunxiao's heart suddenly stirred, and an inexplicable sense of frustration welled up in his heart, as if he felt something was about to happen. His face changed drastically. "Let me in." Without another word, he quickly walked inside. The people around were all horrified. "Esteemed guest, please don't make things difficult for us." Li Yunxiao had the highest level supreme token. Those who could obtain this token were either close friends of the Tianyuan Trade Guild or people who had made great contributions to the guild. There were absolutely no more than 5 in the entire Tianwu continent. They couldn't afford to offend such a character, but they couldn't disobey Ding Peng's orders either. "All right, I won't make things difficult for you." Li Yunxiao released his spiritual power, and the space instantly warped. He instantly teleported away with Mo Xiaochuan, leaving behind an empty space. The martial artist was stunned, then greatly shaken. "Not good. They must have entered. Quickly inform young master Ding Peng." One of the martial artists quickly ran inside. Vaguely, he could still see the figures of Li Yunxiao and Mo Xiaochuan ahead. They desperately shouted, "Stop!" But the two paid them no attention and vanished into the forbidden area drawn by the Tianyuan Trade Guild in a flash. In the main hall of the Tianyuan Trade Guild station, there was a chilling silence. Ding Linger sat in the main seat. Behind her, on the left, stood one person, and 4 martial artists were standing behind her. Their strength not great. All only at the martial emperor cultivation level. In the guest seats was a young man with a graceful demeanor, slowly sipping fragrant tea from his hand, occasionally using the tea lid to gently push away the tea leaves. Beside the man also stood 4 martial artists, all with cold expressions filled with a murderous aura. A young man walked to the main seat, somewhat afraid to look directly into Ding Linger's eyes. He lowered his head and said, "Sister, I'm also doing this to help the Tianyuan Trade Guild. This trade guild was built by Father with his own hands. I can't just stand by and watch it be destroyed." Ding Linger's cold gaze left him and stared at the young man below, saying coldly, "Young Master Mo, if you have something to say, just say it directly. Linger is all ears." That man Mo Yu put down his teacup and smiled. "Ha ha, little sister Linger is still as direct as ever. I've always admired that. Ever since I met little sister Linger during the competition for the mineral vein in the eastern region last time." Ding Linger waved her hand, cutting him off. "Let's not talk about the past. If young Master Mo has nothing else, then please see yourself out." Mo Yu wasn't angry and chuckled. "Little sister Linger's temper is getting more and more impatient. Is it because of the current situation of the Tianyuan Trade Guild? It's made little sister Linger work hard all day and her temper has become more irritable." Ding Linger snorted coldly.
What's wrong with the Tianyuan Trade Guild situation? I feel everything is still very good. Ding Peng couldn't help but say, Sister Young Master Mo is here to help us. Why is your attitude so cold? You're keeping a friend 1,000 miles away like this. You're practically pushing the Trade Guild into a fiery pit. No wonder that after Father handed over all the major and minor affairs of the Trade Guild to you, it's been getting worse year by year. Ding Peng, Ding Linger said angrily, you step aside. The Luoku Trade Guild has been eyeing us for years, secretly working against us everywhere. They are our #1 enemy. You actually say he's here to help us. When did you get mixed up with them? After being scolded, Ding Peng's face flushed red. He no longer cared and roared, What do you mean, mixed up? I'm talking business with young Master Mo as the young master of the Tianyuan Trade Guild. You only keep making enemies for the Trade Guild, while I can turn enemies into friends. Not only are they not competing with us, but they're even here to help us. It's clear at a glance who's good and who's bad. Ding Linger was trembling with anger. You get out of my sight. The Tianyuan Trade Guild is under my charge, Ding Peng said coldly. On what basis? Just because of a muddle-headed decision by Father is old and can't distinguish between good and bad anymore. Such an important assembly, and Father didn't even come to participate. He's powerless in the affairs of the Trade Guild, and I, as Father's only son, cannot stand by and watch the Trade Guild be destroyed in your hands. You're driving me mad. Seize him and lock him up. Linger slammed the table extremely angry. Mo Yu, who had been sneering on the side for a long time, finally said slowly, Little Sister Linger, no need to be angry. Although your younger brother is young in all aspects, he is indeed not inferior to you. What he said is not wrong. If we can reach an agreement today, then our 2 trade guilds will be as close as one family, no longer distinguishing between each other or being adversaries. Isn't this a great thing? Let me ask you, in all the years you've been in charge, have you been able to achieve this? Ding Linger suppressed the anger in her heart and said coldly, I'd very much like to hear how this good-for-nothing brother of mine proposes to make us as close as one family. 2 becoming 1. Mo Yu smiled. Actually, it's very simple. The Tianyuan Trade Guild has indeed had its moments of glory, but now it's no longer the case. Its overall strength is far inferior to our Luoku Trade Guild. But if it can get the support of the Luoku Trade Guild, it can certainly return to its peak. Ding Linger said coldly. Mo Yu has your Luoku Trade Guild turned into a charity doing things that don't benefit yourselves at all and only benefit others. Mo Yu laughed. Haha, of course there's no free lunch in this world. Little Sister Linger will naturally have to pay a price. Actually, it's very simple. Just have Little Sister Linger marry me. We as husband and wife will jointly manage the 2 great trade guilds, then merge them into one. As for the future, isn't it already in our grasp? Ding Peng said. That's right, sister. When young Master Mo becomes my brother-in-law, our 2 trade guilds will be inseparable. With my brother-in-law as the president and me as the vice president, it will be very easy to enter the 4 core alliances. Ding Linger's head spun, and she was so angry she nearly fainted on the spot. Her delicate body trembled uncontrollably, a breath of frustration stuck in her chest, unable to speak. Yurong said angrily, Young Master Peng, you're so muddle-headed! Isn't this just handing over the trade guild to this Mo fellow on a silver platter? Ding Peng pointed at Yurong and berated him. What are you? You dare to lecture me. You're just an old servant, get lost. He then said to Mo Yu, Brother-in-law, don't listen to this old servant's nonsense. When our 2 guilds become one, aren't you the president? Otherwise, with the current situation, we can't hold on any longer. Once we lose our qualification as a board member, we'll immediately be eaten up. I'm doing this for the good of Father's legacy. Good, good, good. It's indeed for the good of Father's legacy. Ding Linger was on the verge of tears, sobbing. I finally understand Father's helplessness back then. He said you were difficult to shape into a gem, which is why he let a girl like me take over the trade guild. I've always hoped you could grow up quickly so I could hand this trade guild back to you. Do you know how much hardship your sister has endured all these years? In that instant, she suddenly felt as if all hope was lost. The spiritual pillar that had supported her through years of hardship suddenly collapsed, and she felt completely empty inside. At this moment, she felt like letting go of everything, letting go of the burden she had always carried on her back and escaping this chaotic and complicated world. Everything she had done in recent years seemed meaningless at this moment. Ding Peng said softly, "That's because Father was biased. Since you intended to return the trade guild to me, then return it now." Ding Linger said painfully, "Since you've grown up and have your own ideas, then I will no longer care about this trade guild. I'm just a woman after all. Father's legacy will sooner or later be inherited by you. Can you bear it?" Ding Peng said, "Sister doesn't need to worry about that. I have no shortage of talented and extraordinary people and all kinds of masters. Plus, with young Master Mo helping me, I will definitely make the legacy Father left behind flourish." Dinglinger's face was pale. She gritted her teeth and said, "Fine. From today on, you will be in charge of the Trade Guild's affairs. I'm done." Yurong said in shock, "Miss, the situation is too serious right now. We should still wait and ask the Master before deciding." Ding Peng said angrily, "You dog of a servant, do you need to meddle in my Ding family's affairs? Father is old and powerless. Let him rest in his old age. This is something my sister can decide." His eyes flashed with a fiery light, as if he couldn't wait any longer. Dinglinger looked at him coldly. A golden token flew from her hand. It was the Tianyuan token symbolizing the highest authority in the Tianyuan Trade Guild, which only the president could possess. Ding Peng was overjoyed and snatched it, feeling its heat in his hand. A crazed smile appeared on his face as he flipped the token over, examining it carefully, afraid it was a fake. Mo Yu's eyes also lit up and he laughed loudly. "Ha ha! Congratulations, little brother Peng!" Seeing Ding Peng's appearance, Ding Linger's heart grew even colder. "Old Yu helped me leave." She had some difficulty even standing up. Yu Rong let out a long sigh. He never thought that at such a critical moment the Trade Guild would collapse from within. The Tianyuan Trade Guild was gone forever. He instantly aged several years as he helped Ding Linger to leave. "Wait." Mo Yu extended his right hand, blocking the two of them. He grinned. "Little Sister Linger, you haven't agreed to the marriage between us yet." "I'll marry your corpse." Ding Linger, who had been completely powerless, didn't know where she found the strength. She waved her hand and a beam of light shot out, slashing straight at Mo Yu's head, wishing she could tear him into 1,000 pieces. "Ha ha!" Mo Yu laughed loudly. His 5 fingers closed like a blade and instantly cut through that beam of light. His eyes showed a look of surprise. "A 2-star martial emperor, haha, little Sister Linger, is indeed worthy of being one of the 2 great beauties of the Merchants' League admired by all. Your talent is so astonishing. You are truly too suitable to be my wife. But little brother Peng, we are all one family now. Please help me persuade your sister." After confirming that the Tianyuan token was real, Ding Peng let out a sigh of relief and said with a commanding air, "Sister, you've grown up. You've worked hard for the Trade Guild for so many years. It's time to find a good family to marry into. Looking at the entire Tianwu continent among the younger generation, the 4 prodigies of the northern region are the most respected." "But what kind of characters are the 4 prodigies? They certainly wouldn't be interested in you. So it's better to know your place. Marrying Brother Mo is the most suitable and the most well-matched." Hearing this, Ding Linger felt a tightness in her chest, almost as if she was about to vomit blood. Ding Peng frowned. "Could it be that sister wants to remain unmarried forever? If you wait until you're old, you'll just become a leftover woman." Mo Yu laughed loudly. "Ha ha ha! How could I bear to let your sister become a leftover woman?" Ding Peng said softly. "Could it be that my Tianyuan Trade Guild has to support you for the rest of your life?" He naturally assumed the role of the master of the Tianyuan Trade Guild. Ding Linger finally couldn't hold it in anymore and spat out a mouthful of blood, her body swaying. Yu Rong was so angry his 7 orifices smoked. He roared and swung his iron staff, saying angrily, "Today, I will commit insubordination. You old servant who doesn't know how to write the word death." Ding Peng kicked out, striking the iron staff. 2 streams of spiritual pressure collided, and both were pushed back several steps, surprisingly evenly matched.
Ding Peng felt he had lost face, especially since he was now in charge of the Tianyuan Trade Guild and had been offended by a servant and in front of an outsider at that. He immediately roared in anger. "Kill him! Kill this old servant for me!" The 4 martial artists of the Tianyuan Trade Guild present in the hall all looked at each other somewhat at a loss. Ding Peng was furious. "You dare not listen to my words." He hurriedly took out the Tianyuan token and held it in front of the 4, saying angrily, "The Tianyuan token is here, you dare not listen." The 4 of them didn't dare to look directly at the Tianyuan token, and all lowered their heads, some even turning their heads away. Ding Linger had been in charge of the trade guild for several years and had long since won the hearts of the people. She was the only leader in everyone's minds. How could a change of a single token change the world? Mo Yu also frowned, a grave look in his eyes. "Little brother Peng, it seems you still have a long way to go. Today, let this big brother hold the fort for you." He gave a look to a martial artist beside him who stood up, his aura spreading throughout the hall. It was a martial sovereign's domain, and it instantly suppressed everyone, making them pale and even a little breathless. Ding Peng frowned. "Sister, where is the golden wind and silver mang that father gave you? Since you've handed the trade guild to me, then those 2 forces should also be given to me. Otherwise, the entire trade guild is an empty shell. What's the point of me taking it?" Mo Yu's heart also stirred. Each of the 8 board members of the Merchants' League was very powerful. Although they were all merchants and appeared to be friendly in business, they all had powerful martial forces secretly supporting them. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to do business. Ding Linger smiled sadly. "Do you think the golden wind and silver mang of the Tianyuan Trade Guild has always been in my hands? If that were the case, would I be bullied by you now? Those 2 forces have always been in father's hands and have never been given to me."